Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Unified Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier. And we have an exciting desk for you here today for some exciting games. We're getting into the quarterfinals, and it is going to be phenomenal. So we got 100 Thieves Next, EG Prodigies, and joining me here on the desk today, I've got my ever so fabulous guest analyst, Smat, always here, putting in the hard knowledge. But we also have RBM in the house over here. And we also have Amelia Cosplay. How is everybody doing today?
Great. It's a good day.
Ready to game.
Woo.
Good.
Ready to game. I like it. Already ready to get into it. And like I said, it's the first day of quarterfinals. We just got off of some highly contested elimination matches. And now these teams, these players, some of them played yesterday in some really feisty matchups. And here we are back at them again. Smats. We have a team here already, EG Prodigies, who was a part of that yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday had some crazy games for EG Prodigies. They took a series against Variable 2-1. That series was insane. If you were here yesterday, I don't need to tell you that, but it was like a base race by the end of the first game, and then there was like jungle, just pandemonium in the other two. That was a really crazy series for Evil Geniuses, and they have their work cut out for them coming directly off of that game. Trying to prepare for 100 Thieves Next, who are the undefeated team so far in this tournament. It's going to be really hard.
Yeah, undefeated, but looking over across the table, you got RBM over here, who I have word he's ready to fight for his former teammates here on the side of EGP.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to give my pitch on the predictions. EGP, I have 2 ex-teammates from AoE, so know where my heart lies for this one for sure.
I have to see exactly if your heart is going to be in the right place here as the game goes on into the series. Amelia, you're coming in here, bringing in the finesse over here inside of the bot lane. And I'm kind of curious, what have you been into here as the solo queue season has started back up?
Enchanters are OP right now. Play them or you're trolling.
You heard this. This was your daily reminder here, your PSA. With that being said, I do want us to go ahead and show the bracket. Now, to show everybody exactly what the path is going to be, of course, we got 100 Thieves Next and Evil Genius Prodigies over here for us. Over on the other stream, we have all sorts of other games going on as well, but you can see the path of these teams. And boy, oh boy, it feels like every single way I look, there is a raid boss in every single angle.
Some really tough teams for sure. I think this upper side of the bracket's really fun because, well, first of all, you've got 2 amateur teams that are affiliated with LCS going head-to-head right off the bat. Going to be really exciting. I think a lot of people predicted EG Prodigies to be first seed out of their group, but that didn't end up happening. You know, they got upset really early on by Taco Gaming. So this is a really interesting spot for them to be in. I think it's one that they're not super excited about going against 100 Thieves Next. You know, Insanity coming straight out of LCS. They got the young Prodigy up in the top lane, so pretty tough matchup. And yeah, we still got GGS Academy in there as well. That matchup looks absolutely hilarious on name value alone against No Team, the team with the NFT logo. It's a good time.
I'm taking No Team in that one as well for sure. That's a Draft Kingdom for Pucar leading into a free win.
Amelia, how are you feeling? You want to weigh in on this, on the bracket? You got a team that you're personally looking at?
I am not sure at the moment. I don't know. I mean, 100X's roster just looks really good to me.
I think a majority of people will agree with you on that. It is a disgusting roster.
Yeah, like, that team looks really good. I would definitely bet on him.
Amelia, I actually have a question for you. So for our matchup right now, which bot laner do you prefer to lane with? A Ray or a Sketch?
Ooh.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Ray. I just think Ray is really good. I mean, Sketch is good, but like Ray is.
RBM's right here.
I would pick neither of them. Those guys are sick. They're sick in the head. Those guys are sick in the head. I'm not taking either.
It's your teammate, but Ray is. Got it.
These guys are freaks.
I think everybody can agree with that. And talking about it, the roster, seeing how the games are going, I want to go ahead and throw it over to another graphic to show what games are going to be on what streams out here. We we are going to be, of course, having 100 Thieves Nets and EG Prodigies here for our first game. Then later on, afterwards, Taco Gaming taking on Immortals AoE. Where over on Unified Live, you will have Golden Guardians Academy taking on No Team, and you have Winthrop taking on Wildcard Gaming. So if you're interested in the games, whichever game you're interested in, we got 2 streams putting up hot action for you, and you can be sure to just click on those links and be able to find your way there. But we got 100 Thieves Nets. We got EG Prodigies here, and it's time to get into what this series has in store for us. Smats, I'm going to start it off with you. You're going into this matchup. You got anywhere in particular you're keeping your eye out on?
Yeah, definitely. I think the top lane is where I'm looking most directly right off the bat. Like I said before, Sniper is one of the most exciting prospects that we have in this entire tournament. It's his first competitive tournament. He wasn't old enough to play up until this split. So him coming in here has got a lot of eyes directly on his gameplay. And he's up against who I would consider to be the strongest looking player on Evil Genius's Prodigies in Faisal. This guy's team fighting has been phenomenal. As you can see right there, he's got an absurdly high kill participation stat right now. That's off of the back of some gangplank performances and some really solid series from him. I think his team fighting is really top notch. So I think whoever gets the lead early game in this lane is going to have a really high impact throughout the rest of it.
Yeah, jumping on
RPM.
that Faisal. Yeah, I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
Jumping on that, from what I know about Faisal, he's extremely versatile. As we were talking about before the cast, Shadow Sniper is like the carry king, right? And he's taking one in every game. But Faisal, like, even back towards the end of AoE, he could pull out the Ornn, and like we had a lot of success with that. But we have a ton of success on Camille and like Renekton. The guy's an overall beast on so many champs, so it's so interesting to see what he likes to pull out in every case.
And with that, Amelia, how are you feeling going into the series? Not necessarily about top lane. Is there anything that you're particularly keeping your eyes out on inside this matchup? Anything in the meta that you got your eye on?
I mean, I'm definitely going to be watching bot lane, of course, as a support player. I'm just excited to see enchanters again, because, you know, they didn't used to be so popular and competitive, but it feels like everyone's bringing out, like, the Karma, the Lulu lately, so I'm just hoping to see some of those enchanters bot lane and see how those matchups play out.
Me too. It's been a really cool meta, because like you said, it hasn't been at the forefront of competitive for such a long time, but it's just such a cool spot to be in. Like, the new Glacial is being popularized on a lot of these enchanters as well. Things like the Lux and the Janna use it really well. And there's just a lot of hyper carries that are using the lethal tempo with like Jinx and Aphelios, and like Lulu works really, really well with that. I actually don't know if anyone has played Yuumi in this tournament so far, but around the world people are like spamming that champion. It's getting banned a lot, so maybe this is the time that we actually finally get Yuumi. It would be fitting, you know? We've got you on here, Amelia. It'd be great.
The champ's so
great. It is. I think we've had one Yuumi game at all, but
really?
I think it lost. I'm trying to think right now, but I think it was like an Ezreal Yuumi game. But I don't think it was able to pop off the way they wanted it to. But I could be wrong on that. I could be misremembering, but we'll have to check on that. Seeing as the meta goes, and seeing as my desk is, you know, enchanted by enchanters, it seems like, I want to ask you guys, going over into this mid lane matchup, I'm personally very invested in this as well. Between 100 Thieves Nets and EG Prodigies, they've had some very bright moments inside this tournament.
The mid laner is really interesting. For Insanity, most of what we've seen from him has been like the scaling side, things like the Corki and the Victor, which, you know, you can't fault him for that when those champions are really broken right now. Leo definitely has gone the other way, especially in the series yesterday, playing more around activating the jungle for Winston. And I think if that stays the same, it'll clash in a really interesting way, and maybe Fnatic will get put a little bit farther behind than he's used to, because Winston has definitely taken that momentum that's given to him, or not. Did I say Winston? Perry. Sorry. Got my series yesterday mixed up. Perry has really taken that momentum from the mid lane really well. He's done a lot of like the farming style, like the Kayn that we saw yesterday that he completely popped off on. So I think that's something that Fnatic is definitely going to have to look out for. Like maybe matching that with something like his Hecarim, or trying to match the early game as well. Maybe pop off at something like this in Zhao.
You think that's what we're going to see here in RBM? Are you looking at this matchup and seeing this jungle, and you're like, all right, it's Perry the Kid, 1v9, going in there, clutch? Or is this something that you think is going to be a little bit more of them playing around their teams?
I definitely love this jungle matchup. Fan is representing the old boomers, like myself, an OG in the scene, whereas Perry's like the new kid around the block. He smurfed in scouting grounds. So I love the matchup a lot. I personally think Fan is probably going to be better. Fan was really, really good last split. Not quite as good as me, but that's fine. And I think he should have a jungle matchup with Kingdom, but I think Sketch Dreams will definitely take it home.
Okay, all right, I like it. The confidence is still there for RBM and hasn't lessened whatsoever. Amelia, I'm going to hit you on a point that has happened time and time again here inside this tournament. I want to gather your thoughts on it. We have seen on red side, people have been focus banning AD carries over and over again. How do you feel about that as a strategy going into a series like this? We've seen it so many times inside of this.
Honestly, I think it's pretty good. There are some pretty strong AD carries right now, and bot lane matchup can really determine a game. I mean, maybe I'm biased. I'm probably biased. But I think bot lane matchup is really important. So getting those AD carry bans out there is probably good.
I think you're right. I'm also a bot lane main, though, so the problem is
also biased.
Since I'm the only one that's not biased, I'll jump in on this. AD carries are like a tier below in like the ranged like opinions about the game. So they will like fight to the death, flip the game over like things that are completely unnecessary. So I think having those bot laners banned out can help reduce those matchups where AD carries just think, they have Draven, I can't play the game, we have to just flip it. And they flip it. So I think it's great to have these Jinx bans and Caitlyn bans because Caitlyn's gig OP as well. So I think it's really helpful for the blue side to be able to play.
No champions from Arcane will be allowed.
Good. Chefs are all
Vi has not been banned inside of this. I just want to bring that up. We haven't.
I guess you're probably right. Yeah. I wonder. Well, Heimerdinger hasn't been banned either, so we've got some catching up to do.
Yeah, a shame, honestly. With that being said, talking about shames, let's go ahead and get to my favorite part, shaming the caster predictions here, as we get to see exactly what they have for themselves as we do. Whoa, we got a king icon here on Orbital as the play-by-plays have taken over.
Ooh, okay, so this is a really interesting set of predictions. First of all, I'm noticing no Evil Geniuses fans. Everybody has stopped living evil for today. I can't say I blame them. 100 Thieves are really good, but that is definitely something to note. Also, Hawk and Jolly going against the Academy team is pretty fun too. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know Jolly just like has to go with no team because they
got an apology letter.
Yeah, the apology letter for losing. You know, I don't know. Maybe based on the other predictions, she's going to be receiving another one today, but we'll see how that goes.
Could be a possibility. RBM, how are you feeling, man? I see these things, and I feel like you might have some different thoughts on, especially this first series.
Yeah, I'm taking EGP, no team, wildcard, and Immortals, in my 4 predictions. EGP got this one relatively cleanly. Everyone's gonna look like a clown.
Yeah.
Bukar's got no team. Alorum's got wildcard. That one's in the bag, by the way. Anyone taking withdrawals trolling. And then AoE, of course, that one's as well in the bag. Shiozuri cannot outmatch Julius. It's a coach gap.
It's a coach gap. Amelia, are you sharing some of the opinions of RBM here?
No.
Are you?
He has a little too much speed. His former teammates are good, but I don't know if that'll be enough to carry those teams. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go with the 100x here.
As it be like that sometimes. It really do. And it's going to be an exciting game no matter what. There's a lot of different storylines that have been leading up to this moment. Lots of young talent that are coming together to really showcase their talents here. And the quarterfinals, this is single elim here. Every single match from this point forward takes you onto the next level. There are no second chances from this point forward. So all these teams, they've got to put everything on the line. Smats, with all these young players, is there any worries you might have, any nervousness that you think might come through?
That's definitely a part of it. I think in the Proving Ground circuit space, it's a little bit more forgiving because you have another opportunity later on. There are just a bunch of tournaments that can get you to that main event. I know the format's a little bit different this time, so you have more to worry about. There's only 2 tournaments rather than like 4 or 6 from the last one. It seems like we're just dropping it down each time. Maybe next time there'll be no tournaments. That's obviously not true, but it's not true. There's quite a bit riding on this. I think if you do end up taking an L to a team that like has a mid laner straight out of LCS, you shouldn't be too worried about it. Like the thing about Proving Grounds as an entire year is that it's a lot about building up as a team and trying to figure out how you can work together and getting into a new environment, especially on a team like Evil Genius's Prodigies, where they've got a lot of the staff building them up around them, and they know that a lot of the players that were previously on this team did get promoted to the rest of Evil Geniuses. Like Danny's playing in LCS, smurfing it in lock-in. So I think it sounds like I'm counting Evil Geniuses out right now. I'm definitely not, but a loss today would not be the end of the world for them. They've got the whole rest of the year. I'm proud of their journey already, so I think they can make a lot of improvements.
And RBM, I'm going to ask you. You played inside of Proving Ground. How do you feel? You like the grind of all the tournament matchups? I got to ask this question. Or are you more of like, all right, this new format is, all right, pretty sick?
I always hated the new format from summer split because I love the spring split format of last year where you got to play like 4 days a week. You got one scrim and like you just YOLO'd. Like I thought it was so fun because I hate having like long breaks and like scrimming a bunch. Like I want to play in the matches because they feel so much like more important to me. So that's my take on that for sure. But I will jump on the young kid rookie thing. Piece of advice from an old boomer that doesn't play anymore is just no matter what, don't play with fear or regrets. Like trust your teammates as much as you can because using everyone's brain together is like most important. But no matter what, just don't regret anything after the end of the game. And that was like something I really prided myself off of being able to do. Because like if I thought something was good, I would just do it, and like I tried it, and I either look like a completely dirty inter or I look like a king. So it's like, just you want to stand out, make a name for yourself. So play with confidence and just try things. You'll never know.
And Amelia, you were watching last season, right? We talked about it a little bit beforehand. How does it feel? We go from the person playing inside to the person watching. How are you feeling going into this Proving Ground, seeing all these young talent come up, and seeing, as RBM has said, some of the boomers getting taken off of the Rift?
It's definitely exciting to see, like new fresh people show up, like, keeping the scene alive. It is really sad to see a lot of the boomers go though, after watching them and cheering them on, without RBM on anymore. But it's exciting. I'm just glad to see it flourish.
Alarm's still here, he's on a wild card split, so we got Chief Boomer still kicking here.
Grandpa will have to be dragged out of League of Legends before he gives up. That's why he's
true.
the GOAT. That's why he's the GOAT.
True.
I love that guy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let us know who you guys are cheering for. You can actually interact here on the Academy stream by going onto Twitter and using the hashtag #WeAreUnified. Your tweet could show up here live on stream, so let us know your thoughts. Who do you think the GOAT is inside of the remaining players that are left alive? Let us know. Get us everything that's going on inside your head and make sure your thoughts are known. As we are going into our first game here very shortly, I'm going to do one last roundup here. Going into the matchup, we've had a lot of information laid out for every single player here. We've talked about these teams in the head-to-head. Is there any last thought that you guys have? I'm going to start with you, Smats. Is there any last thought that you have possibly going into this series here that you're really looking forward to?
Well, I'm just gonna repeat what I said before. I think somebody needs to pick Yubi today. That just needs to happen.
I agree.
The champion's really good. Yeah. See, we got 2 people on the desk that agree. Yes. Bring out the cat.
Okay. Bring out the cat. RBM, I'm gonna ask you the toughest question. Array or Sketch is going to pop off in this game. Who's going to do it? Game 1.
In game 1? Okay,
Yeah.
well, my prediction is 2-1. 100X loses, obviously. So I'll give
You baited. Okay.
I'll give Array 1 game of smurfing. I'm going to say something happens in draft, some bad matchup, and Sketch Streams can't solo carry the game. But I'll give it as soon as, I don't know which side each team is, but I think EGP, if they get to play red side and Faisal gets a good matchup top on R5, it's really important. But I have friends on 100X as well. General Sniper, Fan, and Ray. So I at least have to give them a win. And Daption, I like Daption too. I only don't know Insanity, so like I got to give them at least a win. So that way they're like, bro, why didn't you pick us? So I'll give them one win. I'll give them game one, and then it's a reverse sweep. AoE style, just like back in the day. We get a reverse sweep for EGP.
All right, I love to hear it. We got some Yumi going. We got some some blood being shed here between teammates that have been on the same team. We're gonna have to see exactly how everything squares up. With that being said, our casters are ready. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the lyrical stylings of Jolly and Beatdown as they're gonna take us away for game number 1.
Yay! I'm so excited for this Beatdown. I, of course, am going to be your play-by-play for the day as Jolly, and then Beatdown this side? That side. Is going to, other way, is going to be joining me here for the color. And oh my gosh, Beatdown. We've been in the same room now for about an hour, just trying to not be too hyped, not waste all of our energy in the pre-show here. I don't know if you were listening to that pre-show, speaking of that, on the analyst desk, and I'm not sure how you feel about the Yumi thing. I personally, I don't know, I'll throw it to you and then I'll give you mine.
I mean, I don't know. Yumi is fine, I think, in some circumstances, but I don't know if it's like, it has to come out today or something like that.
Right.
No. What about you?
Yeah, I'm okay if that's not the case, to be honest.
There you
but
go.
We're going to be heading right into draft. So, hey, you know what? We're going to get an answer, at least for game number 1 here, pretty quickly. And of course, we do have 100 Thieves who have chosen the red side to start things out. They are the higher seed. We're looking at first seed and then 4th seed in the overall, I believe, between these two. First seed in Group A and then in Group D, 2nd seed coming out of EGP. So Viego, Twisted Fate on the side of EGP to start things out. You got the Aphelios and the Jinx very clearly targeting Sketch on this one. Those are both big array picks, though, I gotta say.
Well, yeah, I mean, both of these AD carry players are super big. I'm pretty sure they mentioned it on the desk that bot lane matchup is definitely an exciting one just because of how good Array and Sketch actually are. So it makes sense that we're seeing a lot of these carry picks taken away. It does make me wonder what we're going to see the rest of these picks shake out to be. When a lot of those hyper carries are taken out, then you're going to be left with things like, Caitlyn still made it through. There's Jin. There's Sketch played the Ziggs the other day, if I'm remembering correctly. There's a lot of options still, I suppose. But I am curious with the usual ones being taken off the board, what EGP are actually going to go for. I know the Caitlyn is hovered, but who knows?
Yeah,
okay, they're going to take
it. Lock in. Okay, I was going to say, usually that's one where if the Caitlyn comes through, you'll lock it in immediately. The thing is, you do leave up the Thresh, the Nautilus on the other side. Of course, one of them is still available no matter what, but we have had a lot of priority on specifically this. It's ADCs, and then if not an ADC, it's going to be jungle priority. So the Jhin is locked in response, and we've got the Trundle hover right off the bat. I do love this one.
Yeah, I think that one actually would be a pretty good answer here overall. I think especially Fnatic super good in the early game on these enabling picks when he's running things like the Xin Zhao, the Lee Sin. So playing something that can try and match that playmaking in the early game. Of course, we know Trundle's really good in this as well. I think makes the most sense here. And of course, locking in the Lux to get that very, very painful bot lane there for Sketch and Daption, I think is perfect.
Oh, yeah, and then once you move into that ARAM stage, the mid-team fight stage, you've got that final spark that's just going to be blasting down the center. We've seen that coming clutch many, many times for Daption here on the side of EGP, so no big surprise. And, of course, no big surprise either to kind of mirror that support pick here for Dawnbray. And, oh, my gosh, I mean, we've seen Dawnbray pop off on these takey champions. You know, we heard the desk talking about how there's a lot of casters. There's a lot of, just caster supports that are coming through here, sorcerer supports. That's not the case for Dawnbray. Dawnbray says, I'm sticking with the Leona, I'm sticking with the Thresh, I'm sticking with the Nautilus. We're going to use that crowd control, and it does come into clutch in the early parts of the game even.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Dawnbray, especially on this pick in particular, I think he's been playing well all tournament long, but I'm pretty sure the Nautilus is his most picked champion, and he's just been playing really well. The fact that he's always able to find these angles of engage in lane, out of lane, when it comes to actually starting off these team fights and finding these good angles for 100x, the dude has just been playing out of his mind. So I think it makes sense you get him this pick, and honestly, as oppressive as Caitlyn and Lux can be, the thing with Enchantress supports that is a little dangerous. When you're facing Nautilus, when you're facing Thresh, you've got to play the range, because if one of those hooks lands, and especially if the jungler's nearby, that could very well end the laning phase here. We know how Caitlyn likes to play. She does want to bully. She does want to abuse her range in the early game and try to start farming these plates. So if Sketch can get this early lead early on, then EGP can use that lead to go for a particular win here. I actually like that we're getting the Yuumi hover. Maybe they were listening.
They always do that to us. It's either that or Teemo hover. And I have just, honestly, I've stopped looking until I get a lock-in on the screen.
Fair enough.
Because there have been so many times that I'm like, oh, no. I end up making just the weirdest faces in response to some of these picks, but they're never actually locked in. The Victor is another one that we're not surprised about. Very, very high priority pick. Incredibly strong right now. And of course, we've got the hover for the Orianna, which we've seen quite a bit of recently. Really comes big into play. But no, it's actually going to be the Azir lock in here for Leo.
Wow, you don't see that one too often, except we did see it yesterday for Strumpist, of course. It is also one of his strongest champions. And definitely Leo is quite proficient on the champ as well. You get yourself a lot of DPS and scaling into that later parts of the game. So it's nice. Even if Sketch does not get the lead, Caitlyn players usually look for in the early game, you're still going to have just a lot of late game power here and team fighting potential. Even if you go for that Camille instead of the Ornn here, when Perry can go in, you can have Faisal move in with you, especially with that hook shot, being able to access the backline, get on top of somebody like Array, or maybe Donbray if they're out of position, I think is perfect.
Yeah, this does give the opportunity as well for EGP looking into later parts of the game. You got the scaling, obviously, coming from this Azir. This Trundle's just going to get stronger and stronger as the game goes on, especially if you're building up some items here. You can subjugate whoever he wants. It is going to be the Fiora lock-in, though. That allows for some counter split lane play or side lane play as well, which is very nice to see. And you know what? Sniper is capable of pulling out really any of these champions. We see a lot of the sneaky, we see a lot of the Akalis. We see the Jace has been banned away. I mean, honestly, his champion pool is so dang deep that he's always got some sort of counter, whether it's a standard direct counter to what has been locked in.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's unreal. They talked about it on the desk. We talk about it every time 100 Thieves is here. Sniper is nasty. So seeing him on these really high mechanically intense champions like the Fiora is definitely an exciting one. You pointed it out. Really good split pusher. Much less of a team fighter, but of course can function in one if it's really necessary here. But in the side lane, the Sniper is going to reign supreme this game as long as the early game goes the way we kind of expect it to. And I think some credit is due. I think they highlighted the top lane matchup as well, because I actually really do think Faisal is quite a good player. So I am interested to see how this laning phase is going to go. I know it's a little tough for Camille, especially with that riposte, but it is possible, I think, to actually come out on top here if you're going to be Faisal. So I'm more interested to see, especially because Faisal probably isn't going to get a lot of attention in the early game. I'm expecting EGB to play a little more towards the bottom side, more Sketch, more Leo, just because these guys are going to be the carries for the later parts of the game. They're going to be the ones doing a lot of the damage. For 100 Thieves on the other side, you have Array on this Jhin pick. Usually, like you pointed out at the beginning of draft phase, he is usually playing more of these carry champions, Jinx, Aphelios, and things like that. But he can play this more supportive role as well, because Insanity, when he's playing the Victor, we saw it in the previous game that actually you and I casted against, I believe it was No Team. Insanity had an excellent game. The dude is, well, former LCS mid laner, you know what I mean? What can you expect? And Sniper played out of his mind as well.
Absolutely. That's, I mean, what we come to expect, though, from a team like 100 Thieves, right? So Array is going to pop off. We had a little bit of fun, a little bit of play, with RBM on the analyst desk earlier of, all right, I'm rooting for the underdogs. These are some of the people that I've played with. Of course, I'm good friends with these other people. And so, there's a lot of faith in both of the bottom lanes here, but we come to recognize, especially when somebody like Donbray is on somebody as comfortable as he has been with the Nautilus, the early roam potential is massive. And if they can get a little bit of a boost here for Insanity, I do think that there's going to be more focus probably from both of these junglers towards the mid side of the map, especially when you've got split pushers and side laners in the top lane, both really kind of countering each other. Sure, you want to help them out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did navigate their way up there, just because we're seeing ganks at easy level 3, level 4, like at the latest, to be honest, for a lot of these junglers. And especially with that frozen domain, man, Perry has a lot of opportunities to try to make some early initiations. And if they can get that pressure and lead themselves into the late game a lot earlier than 100 Thieves, they're going to find an advantage. But you always have to consider the amount of crowd control that is potentially available here for the side of 100 Thieves.
Right, and I mean that point too about Perry is definitely interesting because in recent games, even when he plays these early game champions like Xin or even something like Trundle, he doesn't look for too many of these early plays. He, of course, Perry jungle, everyone knows he plays a lot of Kayn, does like to power farm quite a bit here. So I'm hoping this time around he does use that early impact he has with that, like you said, the floor, the pillar of ice, all of these things that he can use to affect the outcome of the game in the earlier parts of the game here. Because I think that's what EGP really needs to be doing here. Because Fnatic, this is what he does, man. Early game, he is 3 camps, he's in somebody's lane, he's causing someone a problem here. Really good at enabling the rest of his team in the early laning phase. And when you think about Insanity or Sniper, getting these two early on and letting that happen is something EGP can't afford.
They really can't. Especially, I mean, again, we've talked about Insanity already, right? It's hard to just continue to go back to these same players and be like, hey, this is a really strong pick right now. This is a really strong player right now. They know how to work the meta, and that meta does have a lot to do with these jungles in the early game, right? And so if we're going to see Fnatic play standard Fnatic, then yeah, we're going to see Insanity trying to allow a little bit of pressure towards his side so that there's an opportunity for Fnatic to jump in. And even without that, we tend to see a lot of invades from a team like 100 Thieves.
True.
Or even, clear the camp and then run across, as long as you've got vision on the fact that, as long as you can clear camps faster, and as long as you have vision as to where the enemy jungler started, then there's been a lot of chances or opportunities where Fnatic has said, yeah, I can go over and at least yoink something here, like yoink a little Gromp, and then either head back into my lane or get a nice navigation down into a gank towards the bottom side, or even navigating up around the Raptor pit towards the the mid lane. So we're gonna have to see Perry move a lot quicker, and this is, I mean, Trundle, absolutely, you are more than capable of getting early ganks. Level 3 that's the anticipation, right? You've got a pillar, you've got your frozen domain, that alone is enough to get you into position, even if you are coming from a defensive side on the gank. You just got to see if either of these teams allows any sort of pressure in either direction, and we know that Fnatic is going to move on it. Perry, we should be seeing do the same.
And that's why I think the mid lane matchup's definitely interesting to me as well. Leo playing this Azir. Actually, Azir and Victor are both funny in this way because early on, usually they're not champs you see get that early priority, but I think that's going to end up being pretty important. Insanity, even in matchups early on that don't tend to favor him, he does manage to trade a lot better than his opponent, and it does offer him to get that push, allow him to move, take these fights in the river, take these fights when Fnatic wants to invade, or potentially even roam and help plays that Fnatic is making in other lanes here. So I think 100 Thieves early game is definitely an exciting one to be able to see here. I think the thing that's definitely interesting to me too is the Fiora that Sniper is running. Well, not as good of a team fighter overall. We already all know this about this champion. So how is he going to be playing the side lane? How are 100 Thieves going to play the side lane rather not use the pressure that Sniper is going to want to generate so that they can take some of these advantages across the map?
Either way, it does seem to be a pretty balanced composition, facing a pretty balanced composition. And I'm very excited as we get into game number 1 here. This is still just a best of 3, but we're going to have a second one coming up later in the day after this EGP and 100 Thieves Insanity. Kind of like what we were talking about, or what they were talking about on the analyst desk before this started. This is single elimination. You got no second chance. This is playoffs. This is the big boys.
That's right. We're here in the quarterfinals. Single elimination. There's only one chance here. EGP versus 100 Next. Or as I like to call it, jolly, text versus text.
We got that. We figured that out.
Hey,
we got good production on the backside. And hey, you know what? At least it's on in the fronts of their names, right? So we can easily see EGP as long as you look on the left-hand side. EGP
exactly.
Look on the right-hand side, right? There's indicators, and plus we're here to guide you through all of the confusion. No, there's not going to be a lot of confusion, honestly.
No, not really. We know who's who. You and I just spent the last 5 minutes or so breaking it down. The desk spent the last 20 minutes or so. Unless you're just joining us, if you don't know what's going on, I'm sorry. I can't. Nothing can help you, Twitch chatter.
This is League of Legends.
That's true. Jolly, how'd you know that?
Oh, I've done this once or twice.
What?
Once or twice, beatdown.
Wow.
With you, in fact.
Really? Are you sure?
It is going to be a slow start, though. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't you. For all I know, you told me I'm not real.
That's true. That's true. I did. And I still stand by that. Don't you live in Idaho?
It could all be a simulation. We do have a slow start, though, coming through from both of these players. A little bit of, gold advantage, as we can see in the mid lane, and a quicker clear that's going to be coming from Perry to start the game out here. Nothing too crazy though, Beatdown. This is the anticipation when it comes to single elimination, right? You move forward with a little bit of trepidation for both teams, whether or not you feel like you have an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, again, both these junglers really enablers. So we're going to see once that level 3 comes through what's going to happen. Fnatic already on the move like I was talking about. And he actually has a pretty good angle here on Leo.
Just like I thought, it's on Insanity as well, trying to help out here. Insanity's a little bit far behind on this one, gonna have to walk forward. Hey, that's gonna force out the flash. Fnatic is gonna find the secondary, and the follow-up on that should be able to stay alive to this one and picks up the first blood.
This is what I'm talking about. Right off the bat, we're seeing all this pressure. Oh my god, the hook.
Beautiful deadly flourish as well on to Sketch. Array has the ignite though, is gonna end up going down. It's a 1-for-1. But it's going to be Daption that picks up the kill, and Dombre that picks up the kill.
Yep, it supports in the bottom lane, picking up some of these early kills. I like the aggression, though. Already at level 2, despite being pushed in, Dombre, he finds something. Doesn't end up playing out, but this is kind of what we can expect from him on this Nautilus pick, and kind of the dangers of the early laning phase of Caitlyn and Lux, despite how good it is in terms of the poke and the early damage it can offer here. And we're going to see the replay of the gank again. Fnatic, as soon as he hits level 3, on his way to the top side of the map, immediately pretty much solo kills Leo, even though it costs his flash. You trade it for his, it's just completely worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Get the first blood, get the assist as well, therefore Insanity, and immediately moving down to the bottom lane play as well.
Yeah, right. And I mean, a lot of flashes blown. Now parry. Okay, we got to play.
Ooh! The flash forward, it's a flash response from Dombre, and once again, Array is going to go down. That's an 0-2 and 1 ADC on the side of 100 Thieves.
That's great, and this is what I wanted to see from Perry. Doesn't even go for that 6 camp clear. He goes for 5, gets the Scuttle Crab, and he makes a play in that bottom lane. You get a kill onto this Caitlyn, which is more pressure, more CS that Array is missing, golden experience all. So this is more of what I was expecting from, or hoping for from EGP in the early parts of the game. Of course, top lane, in the island that it is. Just got some trades back and forth, some farming, but of course neither has actually recalled yet.
Yeah, and of course there's 30 seconds until that first dragon. We're looking at an Ocean Drake to kick things off. Very even across the board, but I already do like the fact that we have almost a kill a minute. I think at the 4-minute mark it was 1 kill a minute because we have 2 and 2. But hey, just as we were anticipating with these compositions, they're both very even keel across the board, and no big surprise, each kill is being acknowledged and mirrored on the other side. It's going to be Sniper who gets engaged on right here. An attempt there with the riposte.
He's got to try 1v1.
Does take a lot of damage. A nice little shielding though, because we do have Daption who is up here to help out Sniper with some nice fancy footing, but does get caught up in the minions, and Perry's going to pick up the kill.
And even I like it, the early roam from Daption to the top lane. You definitely don't see that too often with the Enchanter picks, but that also was very helpful. The fact that Perry ends up showing up right as Sniper goes for that engage as well. Blows his flash and gets the kill anyways. So, this is a good early game, just continuing to go well for the side of EGP as 100 Next trying to get whatever they can, steal some camps there inside Perry's jungle. And technically they could dive Sketch if they wanted to, but I think instead, because you know Perry's away, might just go ahead and start Dragon number 1.
Yeah, they've already got this lane pushed up. Definitely not a bad idea. Daption throws a couple of abilities out, but they're straight onto Dawnbrave, who's already getting pretty tanky. Let's take another look at that top lane play, though.
Yeah, and you can see it too. No Q for Faisal. The Sniper just immediately goes in. Could have had the solo kill, realistically, but because Faisal actually kind of waited on that hook shot and hits it, Sniper after he flashed, there was just no way he'd actually get away.
I think it was waiting for the pillar to come down, right? So you can hook shot off of the pillar, which is still pretty cool.
Oh, wow, okay. I guess Fnatic was forced off the dragon or something. It's actually kind of a big deal, too, because he was using the fact that Perry was on the top side of the map to try and go for it. But Perry, he gets to have his cake and eat it, too. He gets the top gank, he gets to clear his top camps, and then move his way bottom and just said, hey, thanks for the leash, fan. I'm going to go ahead and take that, take it from here.
Yeah, we didn't see how that happened. We're going to see a little bit of back and forth here in the top side. Of course, things slowing down just a little bit, and just a slight lead for gold in favor of EGP. Definitely helps they were able to pick up that first dragon of the game. And then also you got a little bit of a lead here in favor of this Caitlyn and Sketch, which is no big surprise. You got a lot of extra damage, a lot of extra pressure coming here, especially with the fact that Dawnbreak, who just barely misses that dredge line. This player has been roaming already so much, which is what we anticipate, what we expect coming out of Dawnbreak. So Array has kind of had to play safe.
has. Still, oh, wait a minute. We got to play.
The nice riposte and not enough damage coming through the hook shot back, and then immediately fourth. Roots back and forth. Dombray's taking a lot of damage here. It should be the Ignite. It's going to be Sketch that turns it around and is able to pick up the kill on that one. And now Array is on the run using the 50 caliber net is Sketch to try to get a little bit closer. The headshot doesn't hit though, and Array makes it out okay.
I mean, really, ultimately, very nice play from EGP's bot lane. Doing really good so far in the 2v2. Despite Array and Dawnbray's attempts to really try and force these skirmishes, try and win things out here, it's just not working. And ultimately, some of these plays EGP have been making across the board has amounted to a pretty small lead that's going on here. And we're going to actually get a replay of what happened here with Perry. Does at first, it's the same kind of bait story, like, hey, look at me, my HP is so low. Pops the grand challenge. His jungler's here with him, and just it's that easy.
It's uh-oh, I'm running away. Psych, running towards my ally right there. And then we move down to the bottom side, and you see that Ignite was perfect coming out of Daption. Sketch was even able to pick up the kill. But that's the end of that story.
All right, and just the beginning of what's continuing to be EGP's good early game here. You can see it now. Dawnbray both supports actually are in lane, but Daption is actually about a level and a half up, I think, on Dawnbray. Basically 2 at the moment here from what we're seeing. Still, the CC is there if Dawnbray wants to make the play. You do allow the push to come through. Insanity can start to go and make a move if he really wants to, but I think he'll settle for some visions. Nothing to play for, no dragons, no play bot, so I think 100 Thieves Next just going to back up, continue farming for the moment here. But you got to imagine Fnatic, now that he's level 6, probably going to be looking for more plays to be made. Could revisit this mid lane, even though Leo has his flash back up. Could go back to top lane if he wants to as well.
We do see teleports there for those little black squares on the sides, if you guys were wondering about that. Those are TPs. Of course, on the right-hand side, you can see the cooldown, right? So those are available for both Faisal and Leo at the moment. EGP has most of their summoner spells, just a couple down for both Daption and Sketch on the bottom side of the map. But, I mean, honestly, that initial start to have 2 ganks pretty quickly on, or actually, it was only 1 gank, and then it was one just 2v2 kill to where early Array went down 2 times, and this is a player that we are looking at to push really hard in the early part of the game for 100 Thieves Next. However, you can also acknowledge that he's such a strong player, considered as one of the best ADCs currently in Proving Grounds, that we know that he's one of those guys that's able to maintain himself, right? If he falls back, he can still have Dawnbray do a lot of traveling around the map and you know, not at least put himself into a horrible position, because both times he's gone down, it has been 2v2 or 3v2.
Ray, player, very well last year at his time with Resolve. A player who actually, honestly, a lot of people considered one of the best 80s out of Academy. Still looking about as good this year. I don't know how good he'll be looking after Perry shows up, though. That's kind of what I'm worried about here. He has the Rift Herald. Oh, wait a minute. Fan reads the play, though.
Nice little pillar to pop him up as well. That means Dombray's going to have to flash out of this.
The damage
Out comes
is
the final
so
spark, and Sketch is still able to pick up the
Curtain's
kill here.
open.
Curtain call comes through. Daption is very low on mana, but totally okay with taking all of these shots here for Sketch. Going to turn it back around, use the last of his mana, get some more damage down. Ace in the hole comes out. It's not quite enough to pick up the kill on Fnatic, but it is enough to shove him away.
They still end up going 1-for-1 here. They don't get to drop the Rift Herald because Perry dies. So I think ultimately this is positive for 100 Next. You read the play as Fnatic, you show up to make sure the Rift Herald doesn't drop, and you get more plates into Sketch's pocket. This is what you want. So you're pushing the timer on that Rift Herald, on the eye that Perry is holding on to at the moment here. And we're looking at, like, what, 60 seconds left maybe on that? He's going to feel pressure to start using that one very soon. Could just look to drop it mid and then head towards Dragon, as EGPs probably want to continue stacking.
If we take a look at the vision too, both of these teams have primarily defensive vision. You've got one of these offensive wards in an attempt to try to make some pressure here onto Sniper in the top lane. We can see in that tri-bush. We can even see at the moment that Perry is sitting in that bush, maybe waiting for an opportunity to drop the Herald, and there it is. Going to come out, just waiting for the recall to come through from Sniper. Of course, the teleport is available here, but it's too risky to make the move at the moment.
Risky, I think, is underselling it, Jolly. I think he'll just teleport to his doom, especially because he knows his jungler is going to take that opportunity to get their first dragon of the game here. So he's just going to walk back, take the wave that gets pushed in, and just kind of hope that he can stop Shelly from getting another charge here. Ultimately, Perry's also going to be able to trade some camps. Of course, Sniper is gonna get a little aggressive here, but ultimately, I don't know if this is a fight they actually want to take.
Ooh, a lot of damage though going on to Faisal.
100 next?
That point was hit. It's going to be a nice little
the
hook shot
flash.
away. A flash by Sniper, but a flash immediately mirrored here by Faisal. In the meantime, Fnatic is trying to take down Perry, Insanity, and Dawnbreak just trying to follow up on this kill. Faisal's taking a lot of damage right there. Out comes the Hextech ultimatum for Sniper, though he will be able to stay alive. Maybe.
The turret shot? No.
He goes down thanks to that Hextech ultimatum locking him in for one more second.
Still, ultimately, very good play. Good read from 100 Thieves Next to be able to move up across the map. They already got the Dragon. Sniper got the information that, hey, they're still here. So Insanity and pretty much the rest of the team move up to the top side of the map and immediately punish them. It's nice for Faisal that he goes 1 for 1, but ultimately, this is a lot of gold that goes into 100 Thieves' next pocket, kind of allowing them to narrow the gap just a little.
So 6-6. Lots of kills this game. Just under a kill a minute still at this point. And, you know, 100 Thieves actually is definitely staunching the bleeding the EGP was beginning to apply right here. Still about a 1.5K up over the opposition. Fnatic potentially, well, can't really do much of anything here, but take a look at the vision once more. Look how much more 100 Thieves Next have placed in their own jungle. They do not want to allow the pressure to come through from Perry because of that frozen domain, because of his ability to get some really solid crowd control down on top of running in, of course, using his subjugate as it is almost up and available here. But it does look like maybe 100 Thieves Next are making their way down towards the bottom. We get some pings coming out on bottom tower, and then in the meantime, EGP is pinging out this mid lane and Insanity, who is alone momentarily.
Yeah, and I mean, as for Vision, 100 Thieves Next doing a pretty good job controlling this bottom side of the map. You can see Dawnbreak placing ward after ward, and you can see them all moving together here, trying to see if there's a play to be made. Insanity in this 1v3.
Ooh, out comes the curtain call. Sketch is going to make it out. Daption barely avoids the final shot right there. Nobody else can follow it up, though. Perry does a nice job proxying.
I mean, ultimately, yeah, really positive. You get a lot of HP bars. Insanity does really well for the earlier parts of that fight, and you're just going to allow Ray to move up and make just be able to shove this wave out. You can see that rotation. Sniper already on the bottom side of the map, looking like he uses TP to get there, and they just move Insanity top, so Faisal can't actually threaten this turret.
A good play here. Good response to Insanity staying alive there in the mid lane as well. 4-0-0 is where Fnatic is at. We've been talking about how well Sketch has been doing, but I do think the rotations that 100 Thieves Next is applying right here is forcing this reactive play. As you know, I love to talk about proactive and reactive play beatdown. But you know, as far ahead early on as Sketch was, as many of those 2v2s Sketch was able to come out ahead on, how much of a difference does it really make when you're just forcing this player to navigate around the map and not go where he wants to?
Yeah, that's part of the thing too, because 100 Thieves, a lot of what they have been doing doesn't end up involving the AD carries. You have your mid laners and, of course, just your general top side of the map. What that means is the lead, that's largely because of Sketchstream and all the gold he has with the kills, doesn't actually apply very much. So Insanity, he's up 20 CS. Fnatic, you just said it, he's 4-0. And Sniper, though he's 1 for 1, he is up in CS as well. So you can see the gold lead really favoring 100 Next on this top side of the map, playing away from Sketch, who wants to just continue to use his gold and actually try to help the rest of his team in the process. They've just been avoiding him.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to be able to do? We see
why not?
He should be able to. Ooh, close. Not quite able to do that. The ping's coming out here. 100 Thieves Next, once again, prioritizing this bottom lane, just trying to get pressure around the map. They want to also find their first responding tower, and that's going to tie things up 1-1. And we're still looking at such a close score line, such a close gold line. I mean, look at the mirrors across the board that we're seeing right here. It's only a little bit more than 500 gold in favor of EGP. So 100 Thieves Next has done a really good job of preventing EGP to kind of run away with the early lead that they did manage to grab for themselves.
Right, and controlling this bottom side of the map means 100 Next have all the vision they need for this Dragon. So EG Prodigies, they're not actually going to wait for Dragon to spawn. They're going to drop Herald. No 100 Thieves have to deal with it and just move in to go for vision. But because they don't know where Insanity and Dawnbreak are, till now, oh, wait a second.
Oh, Insanity flashes
Chaos
away
Storm.
from the final spark. The Hextech Ultimatum comes out. There is Emperor's Divide. It's a lot of damage onto all of these members. Dombray's going to go down. Fnatic does manage to find the 1 kill, but will he go down in response? Flashing away and over into the enemy's jungle, but going to be able to use the Blast Cone over here to Krugs. In the meantime, we have a little picture in pictures. We can see that there has been a lot of pressure here by General Sniper. Sniper in the top side of the map.
Fnatic, he manages to make the
No
great
way.
escape. Yeah, he
No
lives.
way.
And because they lost, they did end up going for trades. No one actually gets to go for the dragon here. Fnatic has that opportunity to reset. His mid laner is going to be back out on the map in a couple of seconds too. 100 Thieves actually could still make a play for this dragon here just because of the fact that, well, they managed to go 2 for 2 in that trade. And the thing is too, Faisal, because Faisal was there on that bottom side of the map, Sniper, he didn't join the fray with the TP. He just continued splitting, is continuing to farm and push these waves that Faisal now has to answer. Meaning, if he wants to, Sniper can actually walk mid, walk down to this dragon, and help secure it for 100 Next.
That's definitely where the pings are coming through. We can see that Fnatic is already heading that way right now. Donbray and Array trying to pressure in this mid lane. And it's pretty obvious to EGP what 100 Thieves Next are planning here, but can they actually do anything about it? We can see that Perry is actually invading the enemy jungle, currently on those red Raptors at the moment. So no, it's going to be Dabshin throwing out the final spark. Doesn't even get the hit onto Fnatic thanks to the jump over to the Scuttle Crab on this lower side of the map.
All right, nice and easy. 100 Next get their second dragon. At this point now, Sniper is in a bit of a pickle. He doesn't realize that Perry is coming from a very awkward angle. Sniper, I think he knows now.
Yeah. Gotta know now. We can see there's the attempt to jump away. Oh my gosh, cancels the Hextech Ultimatum. It was impressive, but still ends up going down to Perry.
I mean, you at least you get the TP out of Leo, who came, not really sure. Maybe he was expecting people to be nearby, but either way, him being there while Faisal recalls means you do get this turret, you do get more gold into your pocket, and it's going to be a question of whether or not 100 Thieves want to do something about it. It looks like the answer is yes. They have people collapsing, and this is looking pretty good.
Fnatic can't get the engage, though, thanks to a nice little pillar right there, and it is Array too far on the backside. Perry decides to just flash away, ensure that nothing comes of that.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Flash for a dredge line is positive. You hold on to that turret, and here we go.
Oh my gosh, Dawnbraid's gonna be followed up with a deadly flourish, and Array is gonna pick it up with one single curtain call shot. Beautifully done there by 100 Thieves Next, particularly Dawnbraid.
And nice and easy, big flash engage coming through, and now, because no support, you can start to invade, you can start to set up vision of your own, and Sketch, of course, knows he's got to drop some traps in that area. They want to keep pushing. Oh, the hook!
Oh my gosh, it's so much damage coming through here. 100 Thieves now are writing the script on this game. They're barely in the lead in terms of gold, but the amount of crowd control and initiation that they are able to apply here is definitely going over the head.
X-Flash! Uh-oh, Sketch is in trouble! But Leo is going to show up and get him to walk away. I like that play too. 100 Next. They know when they have these opportunities to be making these plays. Fnatic just keeps finding angle after angle, and honestly, you could say the same about Dawnbray. And it's been working out pretty well for them so far. Of course, things were still in a pretty even state, and it's worth noting Leo has been farming quite effectively, even though he is down a bit compared to Insanity. He's going to be offering a lot of DPS, and he actually hasn't been part of a lot of these fights either. So I don't think EG Prodigies are by any means out of this, especially when you consider the goal difference being minuscule. It's just 100 Thieves have been very, very proactive.
They have. Sniper, probably not going to be caught out in this instance. They do have a bit more vision on the enemy side, and just in case, Sniper says, all right, I'm going to throw a vision ward in this very obvious location. I just want to ensure that this is not a bait here to make me force me to walk into the face of Perry, but now we do have eyes on Perry here in the mid lane, and that's where 100 Thieves Next are planning on going. Out comes the Hex Flash here. Dawnbray, not going to make a play off of it, though.
He's just looking to see if he can catch anybody out here, but now off this reset, we're seeing assist pings come through, but I think ultimately 100 Thieves probably want to try and set up some vision on this top side of the map. Perry securing Scuttle, having vision of their own, means Baron could be a potential option for them, especially if they manage to find a pick here with Perry's pillar. Now he's moving around this bot side to hopefully get that, because that could be EG Prodigy's way to propel themselves to a really strong lead. You get the Baron, you're able to take some turrets with it. Of course, the bonus gold, I think, is all going to be very impactful. But I think right now, EGP, they're looking like they just want to focus on securing this next dragon. Because you can see all 5 of their members are on this bottom side of the map.
definitely something worth going for. Of course, it's a minute 20 plus on this, so they're just ensuring that there's no vision that's already been placed down here by 100 Thieves. In the meantime, we can see the 100 Thieves trying to get a little bit of their own pressure by putting some here in the mid lane, and now they're going to do the exact same thing. It's just a vision game, back and forth, throw out the sweeper, throw down some vision, then the next team walks in, does the exact same, and you know what? Whoever gets closer to the end of this countdown in 1 minute ends up having a bit more of a priority here. Harry throws out a little bit of a thumbs up just to say, ha, nice try, your deadly flourish won't hit me this time.
And Faisal has to answer this top wave that's been stacking for a bit. I mean, it looks like he has TP if he wants to join anyway, but ultimately, because of that, you do have this control over the Dragon Pit area for some time now. We're going to see whether or not 100 Thieves actually want to try and pressure this turret, but EG Prodigies, they know how important it is, so they're including, or rather pushing all of their members here into this mid lane so they can start to move in. Got to keep an eye on Dawnbray, and on the other side, keep an eye on Perry, both trying to isolate someone so their teammates can engage on them.
And there, the TP is going to come out.
There's a hook.
The dredge line comes through from Dawnbray. It's going to also be followed up by the depth charge immediately after. Nice little crescent guard there from Fnatic. It's going to be a lot of
big
damage.
shuffle.
Oh my gosh, what a huge Emperor's Divide. It's going to be a bunch of shutdowns. We get the stasis coming through, but it will be an immediately kill there on to Leo goes down. Beautiful shots coming from Array, and the stasis in response is only going to provide a triple kill here over to Array.
Oh, big fight coming through from 100 Thieves next, and you can see it. This is what I was talking about. Dawnbray ends up finding the angle. Daption gets deleted. I'm talking ended process by the task manager. The dude was not part of this fight in any meaningful capacity just because of how they isolated him. And because of that, you're down at the numbers advantage. The CC is there. The damage is there from members like Insanity and Fnatic who are so ahead. And what does that mean, Jolly? 100 Next have soul points. They are one dragon away from that Infernal Soul, which is going to be a very big boon to the damage they already offer.
That's huge. And you know, it's nice that the Ocean Drake is picked up, but we're actually going to take a quick look at the replay on that fight.
Right, and I mean, watch Daption here. Ends up getting caught by the hook. He's gone, deleted. That's it. He's not part of the fight anymore here. And despite Faisal putting a lot of pressure onto Insanity, I think it's ultimately the shuffle coming through from Leo that allows a lot of this one to go the way it did, where that it wasn't a complete wipe here. A big shutdown is picked up by Jerry. Of course, Sketch gets to put some damage in too, but ultimately, because Array just continues to free fire in this fight, it's an easy win for 100 Next.
Yeah. Very good job here, too, by Array to stay safe, and the rest of the team to ensure that Array stays safe, right? Because you got to give it over to Fnatic and Dawnbray to take the aggro in that situation. And the last person that you really want to continue to feed in this game picks up the triple kill. Array, sitting at a 700 gold bounty, is now well on his way to picking up the IE on top of the fact that he's already got the Collector and the Gale Force in his pocket here. 217, feeling very comfortable at about 20 creep over his opponent in Sketch. So even though Sketch had that early lead, we were literally looking at Array being 0-2-1.
Yep.
And he is now currently 6-2-5. He hasn't died a single time since the early parts of the game.
And things have been looking up for Array since we got out of the laning phase here. Now, seeing some vision game come through again, just around this Baron, because it's the only thing to play for. We have our top laners battling out on the bottom side of the map here. Ultimately, this is a decent lead that has grown here for EG Prodigy, or rather for 100 Next, but EG Prodigy still have ways that they can play this fight. They still have range. When you think about the damage that Sketch can do, even Daption, and maybe if you can pick somebody off with that pillar with Perry, they're still going to be able to get something done here. But it is just going to be that much harder because they're down 3k.
Yep. And 3k is, not a huge amount, especially at 26 minutes in the game. When you consider the fact that there's one extra tower, there's 2 extra dragons. Heart of Thieves Next have been finding a lot of successful kills recently. They've been able to clear out some of the enemy jungle right here. EGP is absolutely holding on, and this is not by any means any sort of lost cause here for this team. There's still, even considering how many successful fights Heart of Thieves Next have had, we saw it in that last one. There were 3 members up and alive. That would have been a great opportunity for a Baron play, but it couldn't come through because Fnatic had gone down, Sniper had gone down, and you had Dawnbray who was sitting at so little health.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, the Baron take is not that huge, especially that quick, excuse me. With 3 members being there for 100 Thieves Next, it only makes it slower. You're happy with Soul Point, and it's nice. If you manage to hold on here, and allow this Baron to just stay on the map. When Soul comes up, you're going to put EG Prodigies in that really tough position where, okay, where 100 Thieves going to go? Trading Baron for Infernal Soul is honestly not going to be worth it here because that's a huge win con for 100 Thieves Next at the moment. So now it's just EGP looking for an angle, looking for something they can do. Maybe they try and force a turn and go for that Baron. Maybe they try and get a pick on somebody. But either way, I think in a minute 30, EGPs are going to have a rough time.
Yeah, this is definitely 100 Thieves feeling more and more comfortable as the game goes on. And I do think it's, you know, a lot to say for Dombre to be on this Nautilus. We saw just in that last team fight, Daption get caught out, and that's it. I mean, that's a big player who's going to provide not just a lot of damage, but a lot of crowd control here for this team that is just instantly melted from the fight. And that means that Perry needs to get into the front line. Faisal needs to get into the front line, but it's so hard to do when you've got Dombre using the depth charge or dredge lining in. You've got Fnatic crescent guarding everyone away. You've got the Chaos Storm trying to, deal that AoE damage. And then on top of it, of course, Array and Sniper jumping all over the place, dealing as much damage as possible. So you're absolutely right, Beatdown. When it comes down to it, man, it's looking like more and more of an uphill climb here for EGP.
We're 40 seconds away from what could be 100 Next Dragon Soul. I mean, let's look at Leo's build. He does have the Zonias. And if you look at the draft, yes, Perry can try to isolate someone with the pillar, but maybe it's going to be Leo going in with that shuffle and trying to make a huge play with that Emperor's Divine. It's something we should keep an eye out on. I think the question now is we're seeing those red going pings. Are they just going to move up and go for this Baron here? Maybe they're just checking because EG Prodigies actually wrap around the bottom side of the map so they get a favorable position to try and zone 100 Next.
Nice trap set up right there.
Oh,
Makes
look
it
at
pretty
Faisal
hard
too.
for 100 Thieves to get in here, and it's actually gonna be the curtain call that comes out.
Oh, Zonia's is gone.
It's the Zonia's that comes through. Gonna follow it up with that W, the Deadly Flourish from Array, but it's not enough, but it is enough for 100 Thieves Next to say, hey, this is a 5v4 now. Out comes the Dredge Line after the depth charge. Gonna get locked down here as well. Perry will be the first one to go down. Leo comes through with a teleport, goes on to
that's one.
Dombre. Beautifully done, so much damage, but doesn't have the Zonias up and available anymore, so Array is going to pick up yet another kill. Sniper turns gold right there after the Hextech Ultimatum comes out. Is not capable of using that. Fnatic needs to back away just a little bit, but it's still a very good position here for 100 Thieves Next, and it is the Infernal Soul.
And I think that was great. Leo getting caught out in the mid lane with the curtain call, gets chunked, forced to use the Zonias, not able to effectively make that play because while they were waiting for him to recall and TP, Dombre says, all right, boys, send it. He goes for that flash hook, and just watch this. He ends up, it wasn't even a flash hook, I think. He just ends up catching Perry. Okay, he does flash, and there it is. No matter what, he's trying, he's ulting, but this troll just gets ripped to shreds. Trundle cannot be in this fight.
It's a good play, but if you're just going to pick up Dombre in that one as well and then instantly go down to Array, just continuing to feed this already fed player on 100 Thieves Next, I mean, that was just a really messy fight, to be honest, by EGP, kind of from start to finish right there.
I mean, that's not even a fight they wanted at all. That's why you could see them trying to keep their distance, walk down the river, respecting the range of 100 Thieves engage. But what ends up happening is because Dombre flashes, because he catches the jungler of all people, that play ends up going badly, and here's another play.
Oh
my
Chaos
God.
Storm does too much damage onto Daption, and hey, that's totally worth it for that ultimate to come through. Yeah, it's true, they didn't want the fight, but you know what? They took the long walk down and around the Dragon Pit. They are the ones that put themselves in a bad position, and they tried to set up traps, so they were trying to look for maybe some good positioning to try to fight, to try to prevent 100 Thieves Next from getting anything here. And of course, now it's going to be Perry, who gets caught out one more time, tries to flash away from this, does use the Subjugate. Get a little bit more sustainability here, but it's gonna take his
my God!
Perry walked back into the curtain call.
I think he's trying to go left and right, trying to see if he can read him, but the slow from that trap really just didn't help either. Lands all 4 shots. We're gonna see the replay here, the 1v1, and wow, yeah, Sniper just starts it off with that grand challenge. I think he wins this. Maybe he doesn't win this. No, he gets shut down by Faisal.
He does not. I mean, you take way too many tower shots and something like that. Sniper just went a little too far in. The Baron has been started here by 100.
Oh, that's a big
not
shuffle.
Enough, though. Out comes the final spark. It's going to be 2 massive shutdowns here. Dombre tries to do something on the backside. It's too much damage. Sniper, in the meantime, has found out Dapture. The blast zone does not work in their favor. It's going to be Hextech Ultimatum again on to Fnatic here. Faisal has to jump out of it. Sniper continuing to go for Sketch, and it's going to be a deadly flourish from Array that picks up the kill. What looked like a horrible fight for 100 Thieves Next, losing 2 members at the very beginning, turns into a very successful fight.
Well, man, that's probably one of the best chances EGP we're going to get. We saw that big shuffle from Leo, but he was actually looking like he didn't even get to use that Zonya's Hourglass. He doesn't get the stasis. It looked like he just ended up exploding very, very quickly, and because he doesn't manage to buy that time after the shuffle, no DPS coming through, no damage for EG Prodigies, and it means 100 Thieves Next. Maybe it'll be a little slow, but they are going to take this Baron. They're just they're being bros. They're waiting for their boy Insanity to come back before they secure it.
2 seconds, 1 second. Now everybody gets the Baron buff. Everybody's happy. You love to see teamwork like that. And Fnatic recognizes I can take a couple more shots, a couple more little flips here by this Baron Nashor before we can pick that up. And now it's the Baron buff for almost 3 minutes. It's the Infernal Dragon Soul. It's having 8 kills up on the opposition now. And we are looking at about, what, a 6k gold lead for 100 Thieves Next. So very quickly, what seemed like such an even-keeled game with less than a 2k differential between these two teams throughout the entirety has flipped the script.
At the moment, there are objective bounties. If EG Prodigies can make it to those inner turrets on the other side of the map. I mean, technically, Elder would count as 1-2, but it's going to be tough. They'll be hard-pressed to actually manage to win that fight here. It's going to take something huge.
Oh, it's going to be picked up here. It is Array, I believe, that got that kill with the curtain call. Has been using it very, very efficiently. Dawnbreak finds a nice hook there. Ace in the hole comes out, but it's on to Dawnbreak. Same thing with the Hextech Ultimatum on the backside. Again, Faisal immediately has to leave it. And these members of 100 Thieves Next are just invading beyond multiple towers. They are eating up the members of EGP, and they're looking to end the game right here, right now, beatdown.
No top side of the map. You can absolutely do that, Jolly. 100 Thieves Next, poised to take the first game here in the quarterfinals and put EGP's backs against the wall.
It was almost 34 minutes. We can see Leo tried to go in to do something, but it's just padding the stats for 100 Thieves Next. They're totally okay with that. Out comes the final spark, but there is no damage backing Daption right now, who ended 1, 5, and 10. EG Prodigies pushed this out as long as they possibly could, but it's going to be 100 Thieves who say, nope, this game number 1 is absolutely ours.
And things were tight for a while, too. That's the thing. But after some time, it's just these small little plays here that 100 Thieves ended up making past that mid game to actually break the gold tie that was existing for so long here between the two of them. I think a real key one was to letting them stack the dragons on the side of 100 Thieves Next. I think part of it is they were partially forced that way by 100 Thieves Next being able to stop that Herald play, forcing Perry to use it on the other side of the map, and that's how the stacking of Drakes really got started to get there for 100 Thieves, and of course catching out Leo just before that 4th dragon fight ends up coming through means you had that 5v4 that 100 Thieves were happy to take.
Well, you have 100 Thieves going into this one at game point. EG Prodigies
there you go.
Have selected, yeah, it's so early in the day, we can't be going there yet. EGP has selected the blue side, but we are going to take a very quick break. Before that, of course, hey, Skull stuff, right? If you're looking to upgrade your gamer gear, look no further. You start your 2022 off right with official unified esports merchandise brought to you by Skulls. There's hoodies, there's joggers, there's jerseys, there's armbands, and a lot more coming soon as well. You got the skill? Now, might as well get the swag for it. It's Skulls, SKULLZ.com/collections/unify. That's got everything that you're looking for. Gear up, game on, Skulls. We will be right back with more Proving Grounds.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Unified Proving Grounds Circuit Qualifier, as we just got to see a very close game number one here between these two teams, going at it blow for blow. What an amazing showing to start us off with today, right, Smets?
Yeah. It was a really sick one. We got a lot of cool moments. The Fiora counterpick in the top lane for Sniper, and then I really liked the way that EG actually attacked that as well. They had sent a lot of pressure up there too. It's just a few moments where they got picked off and got surprised by the Nautilus later that really sold them and let 100 Thieves win. So I thought it was a really close one.
Speaking of Nautilus surprising people, Amelia, you were saying some things. You were hyped up on the Lutz as we saw it get picked up in the draft, and then you saw the Nautilus, and you're like, oh no, not Nautilus.
Yeah, it's a bad matchup for Lux, in my opinion. It was a rough one for sure.
RPM, you were very vocal as well. We were inside that game, and you were looking at some of the things that were happening inside of that. You did say, you predicted 100 Thieves Next picking up game number one. Are you feeling still confident in the rest of your prediction right now?
Yeah, I think the game went really well for the start for EGP. It went well for a long time, and Adaption just ran it down twice. It got hooked by Nautilus 2 different times, so it was like, that made the game really hard to play, because the game, like, it was hardcore in their favor for a long time. Perry played, like, you know, Perry ended up running it down, like, a few times, but, like, he played pretty well. They did a good Herald swap. They got top lane pretty far ahead, and Faisal played really, really well, even though they got counterpicked, so... well, skill matchup picked, I guess. So, it was pretty good overall.
Pretty good, and some pretty good replays are going to be coming at us here. And the first one we got is the beginning. It's the first blood that we had here. RBM, if you could start us off through this, as we get to see a nice wraparound come in.
Yeah, something really cool. We won't see it from this replay, but Perry is like spam pinging to try to tell Leo something's happening, which, you know, is a really good sign as his like knowledge as a player that, hey, you could get ganked on this timer. But Leo just griefed his Azir combo really hard. He didn't respect flash away and then WEQ. So that was pretty sad, but it's avoidable in the future.
That was a very sad replay at the end there.
I mean,
just
yeah,
watch Azir fade away. I didn't know that happened to him.
I mean, Perry,
boy.
that was like full solo queue. Like, you could tell Perry's pinging 6 times, like, on both sides of the river, hey, you're gonna get ganked on this mid wave, because the mid wave can't crash yet, and Perry can't get there to fix the wave to help him crash it, and Fan isn't just in the right spot at the right time to play on the wave. And then Leo egos his combo and doesn't flash before, or like at least try to trade flashes. Because if he flashes, this is how it's gonna flash back towards him, but he can at least try to get a WEQ back at a different angle and like execute his death or delay his death, and let his wave just be doomed for a while.
You're definitely you're seeing the downside here for Leo. What I'm excited about is that Azinjo is actually ganking before he's done with his full camps. It's not happened in the entire tournament. It's like the first time. So I'm very happy that Fnatic is actually getting in there and making stuff happen in the early game, because it doesn't feel like any other jungler is doing this.
Seal of approval from Smats on the Xin Zhao for Fnatic here, but we do see Trundle have an excellent play down there into the bot lane. And going over to this replay, Amelia, we got to see that flash forward from the Trundle here. It was pretty feisty.
Yeah, as you can see, they're just looking up. I have no idea. Oh, but Perry comes. Wait, he leaves. I thought we're looking at the game. I got confused.
Yeah.
Oh, he sneaks back up. My bad. Now
He's taking his time.
He's
You know?
gone.
Yeah.
Right, with the
Yeah,
flash
take the
killer.
back.
Beautiful cue by the leg stand. They just pick that one up really easily. Really well played
Yeah.
by Perry. They did not expect them to come back around.
Yeah, I really like that
So
play.
well played.
'Cause,
Yeah.
before there was also a bot lane 2v2 set of kills, and like a bunch of summoner spells were blown too. So it ended up being a really good time to find a gank. And like, I was just praising Fnatic for getting stuff done in the early game. Perry was doing this as well. It was actually a really active game from jungler, which I really liked.
Both junglers moving around the map, and we got to see, you know, a pretty good early game coming out from Daption. Had some roams on the Lutz, not something that you normally see, especially with Caitlyn Lutz, something that you were talking about, Amelia. It was pretty good for a little bit. And then we got to see the moment where everything changed. 100 Thieves took control of the game off of one major fight here, and I think we should have a replay of it where the 5v5 goes nuts. Mats, if you could, give us a walkthrough on this.
So RBM spoiled it a little bit by mentioning that Daption, in RBM's words, runs it down a little bit, not too far off from the truth, finding himself on the bad end of a Nautilus hook. That Leo ult was insane, though, and I wanna take this time to highlight Leo's Azir, because there were so many ultimates in this game where all four of us on the desk were watching. We were like, "Oh, let's go!" Oh wait, it didn't do anything.
He did that multiple times.
I know. It was really a good set of ultimates. It's just that they found themselves on like bad footing by the time it got there, and I think that's something that is a really bright point for EG to take away from this game, is that Leo is definitely, he's got a lot of momentum right now. He's feeling good on the Azir. I definitely would be. Finding all those combos is really sick. You know, I don't know a lot about Azir. I mostly just play him in ARAM, but those are really good moments for him. So I think for moving forward, that's something to keep in mind for EG.
Yeah, that fight was really starting out super well, and the Leo turned the fight like after Dashin like griefed, and that was the second time Dashin died with flash to a Nautilus hook, so it was like pretty rough. But like Leo smurfed the fight, but the target selection was really rough because instead of turning onto the Jhin to the left side, which Leo actually shuffled back into a Caitlyn trap, Trundle and Caitlyn continued the fight to the bottom right and ended up hitting Nautilus instead of just killing the Jhin while he was on the trap. And you know, if they did that, maybe they would have won that fight. Just target selection was a little bit off.
100% agree. And we're going to go ahead and get into a game number 2 here. Before we send it over to our casters, though, I want to ask my desk, what are you guys looking forward to? That was a very, very close game number 1. I'm going to start with you, Amelia. What did you like to see? Is there anything you want to see changed going into this next game?
Honestly, I was like all advocating for enchanters and stuff, but Dawnbright on that Nautilus was really making the pick. So I'm just excited to see what Dawnbright falls out next, catching people out. You know, I'll accept no enchanters if it means more plays like that.
Okay, there you go. All you gotta do is break out the Nautilus. All right, RBM, how about you?
I thought both drafts were relatively fine. I wasn't a huge fan of Nautilus into the Trundle because then he gets to eat an Aftershock target, but it didn't end up mattering too much. Unfortunately, I'm gonna spoil it, but they picked our EGP picked blue side again, which I'm not a huge fan of because I really wanted to get Faisal in a better matchup top, because as we saw within the game, like Faisal was smurfing pretty hard on General Sniper the first early levels due to jungle pressure, so it's not looking good for my EGP bet with the blue side selection, but I have faith in Ido for his reasoning behind blue side, and hopefully he'll craft another decent draft.
Yeah, I agree, because even yesterday, Faisal was like, he had blind pick for most of the games that they had yesterday as well. They ended up winning that series against Niles, which was really, like, big props to Faisal for doing that. But now he's got to do it for the second day in a row. I think it's going to be really tough. So maybe he's got some more stuff in the tank. Like you said, RBM, the Camille was really, really good. So I'm still expecting big things from him, even if he gets a blind pick again.
All right. Well, we'll have to see what unfolds in front of us here as our casters are ready, the teams are ready. So Jolly and Beatdown, take it on away.
Thank you so much, Travesty. All right, Beatdown. Everybody in this one aside from RBM, did predict 100 Thieves. That was straight across the board. I think that's the only matchup in the day that we have zero contest into who the casters, I guess, who the analysts, who everybody on the desk predicted. So are we feeling a 2-0 sweep?
Maybe, although I do gotta correct you. RBM did technically bet on EGP. I'm sorry, buddy, you're not getting out of that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
technically
we're not
on
letting
paper.
that go. Yeah, no, literally, that is what he said. I was there, so were you. But do I think it's going to be a 2-0? No, not necessarily. I kind of agree with RBM's pointing out to EGP going back on blue side. Is a pretty big unlucky for Faisal, who we all talk about as a pretty good player. But I still think the way that we saw the game played, especially from Perry Jungle, who I wasn't sure about playing champs that can have the effect on the early game, it was pretty good. So maybe this time around, EGP can put Daption on more of an engaged support just because of how difficult it is for you to find these engages when you are running Enchanter support, because you don't really have that CC anywhere else. A lot of it was on Leo, who admittedly was doing well, finding plays, but it was usually in already lost fights.
Absolutely, and I said it at the beginning of the first game. I was like, I'm gonna go against some of the members on the desk and say the Enchantress is maybe not necessarily the best bet, because when we see, sure, Enchantress versus Enchantress, that ends up being a pretty solid fight. But generally, if an Enchanter is picked, and especially when Dawnbray is on the other side, it's going to be a Nautilus, it's going to be a Leona, it's going to be a Thresh, it's going to be one of these heavy frontline initiators that is going in on these fights, because he also wants to find that early roam. And by being somebody like Nautilus, like Leona, you're not putting yourself into as much of a threat, and you really are setting yourself up as kind of like a secondary jungler, if you will. We see it happen a lot in the mid lane. We saw Insanity get the first early pressure, right? I think it was Fnatic that picked up the first blood, but it was from a gank into the mid lane. So I would like to see, Perry kind of redo what he did in that earlier game of actually engaging relatively early. We expect it from Fnatic. This is always what happens with Fnatic.
Right, and I was kind of wondering whether or not they were going to go for maybe take the Jhin away, but instead it's actually going to be the Xin. We saw it, it's going to be, I guess, the Xin Trundle trade. It looks like the handshake of the series where, we saw Perry do well on the Trundle early on. I just want to see him do the same thing in the early game to be able to actually try and set up, make plays in some of these lanes. Pressure, especially if you can pressure topside and give a little help to Faisal, who was, again, playing pretty well here. I think EGP will be in a pretty decent spot here. Of course, we're going to see Array come back on the Jhin, which he had a great game on, ultimately, and I think it's going to go back to just being the same thing. Like, if you don't end up seeing things like the Victor or something taken away, I'm sure 100 Thieves are going to run back largely the same draft. Maybe they'll change top, maybe they'll change support, but besides that, I'm expecting very similar.
I like, poor sketch. Poor sketch. Looking at the first set of bans, Ophelia, Jinx, and Caitlyn. And then picking the Jhin immediately, on the first pick selection right there. So it's going to be the Camille lock-in again here for Faisal. Played very, very well, even though there was the counter in that Fiora, and I definitely think you're absolutely right there, Beatdown. You know what, at this point, we got to see Perry put a little bit more focus towards the top side, maybe not initiating towards the bottom as much, even though it is really rough right now with your limited selection in what ADCs you're capable of taking in. They have the Leona locked down, which is a really good sign. The Daption is adaptioning.
Okay, so now this time around, though, we're seeing top picked up again in response to what Faisal's going to be playing. The Gwen is a common answer. Can, as time goes on, I think actually start to outtrade, but I mean, we saw Faisal in unfavorable matchups do well, so maybe things will go differently, but ultimately, that just gives you a lot of carry potential in the later parts of the game for Sniper in the top lane. And now you're just going to see 100X continue to ban away mid laners. Just some of these strong picks that Leo would probably want to take, but not actually allow him to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, LeBlanc was the third ban in the first game. It was the Felios, Jinx, and LeBlanc. So the LeBlanc didn't get through in this first selection, or this first phase of picks. That means it's absolutely going to be banned away. And of course, we had the Vex and the Renekton banned out. I do think Insanity is capable of countering the Vex. It might still be locked in, and it's actually going to Ziggs. So even more pressure onto Sketch.
Yeah, we'll have to see what EGP also want to take away here. Oh, it's going to end up being the Yuumi, actually. So they are going to take that one out. I wonder, we could see 100 Thieves just pick their support and then go last pick mid, give Insanity the best matchup they can. Or, I mean, if they really wanted to go, it makes sense too, just because the Leona is already showing, like, you know what you're playing into on the bottom side of the map.
Nott's available. Right, so you might as well save that for the last pick, because it's not like they're going to pick a Nautilus from the side of EGP, not made it through the ban phase. Might as well save it for the last, and they're actually going to lock it in right now. You know what, try to get maybe a little bit more of a counter pick right here, see if EGP has to lock in their mid laner, because we know that Insanity is looking for some counter ability.
Right, I mean, still a good couple of mid laners available. I mean, we know Vex is up, like you said. Technically, Azir is up if EGP want to go that route again. Syndra is available. There's a lot of champions they could definitely go for here. And oh, wow! So we're going to have Sketch on the Draven, if that's not a misclick, which will definitely be interesting. A lot of early game power, more so definitely than what we saw before with the Caitlyn. It is about lane dominance here. So I think maybe we are going to see what you were talking about here. EGP or Perry playing more towards that bottom side of the map.
Yeah, that's what we saw in game number 1. You know, it'd be really nice to have Faisal a little more capable of doing some side laning earlier on in the game, but given the fact that there are 4 of 5 bans from 100 Thieves that are directed towards Sketch, that really puts us back up against the wall. So at this point, that definitely has to be the case, really. We're hovering Enchantress on the side. Of course, this is, you know, Donbray having fun.
We're just having some fun.
Yep. Donbray is going to have some fun with us. The Silas lock-in as well. It is going to be the Veigar in response here to the Silas. Woo, we love to see it. And, you know, I like the Silas pick here, but in terms of ultimates, they're good. They're not some of the best ultimates that I've seen that you can, you know, take away. I think that might be also part of why Insanity ended up going here with this heavy crowd control champion, because they get the early lead once again, and they're going to be really difficult to stop.
I think the Silas is fine. You're not going to be getting mid-prio in pretty much any matchup, especially not into the Veigar. But I think ultimately being able to steal the Subjugate is nice. It goes with what EGP are doing as a whole. Diving, everyone except Sketch has some ways to just jump into this fight. And I mean, technically Draven does have the W, which is his move speed up. So it just kind of fits more with what they want to do. Yeah, exactly. And the thing, though, I really like about this Veigar pick for Insanity is just the fact that because of all this dive EGP have, that Event Horizon is actually super, super good in this game here, just because you have a lot of melee champions trying to close the gap, all except for Sketch. And in doing so, as long as Insanity has that cage up, EGP, they'll have to respect, and it's actually going to make fighting around these objectives pretty difficult for EGP.
You're absolutely right? If you're hook shotting in, if you're trying to jump in as Perry, right? If you get the chains as Leo here, if you're Zenith blading, I mean, these are all opportunities to where you are initiating heavily, and all it takes is that Event Horizon to say, nope. And then it's up to Draven to try to run away, try to escape from these fights, or just kind of continuously be hitting from the back line. Of course, it does offer Sketch a massive front line with all of these picks, and the fact that they are all melee. If they're going to be engaging in a fight, I mean, they've got to be surgical about it, right? This is a situation where they need to wait for the Event Horizon to go down. They need to make sure that he is not in a position where he can just kind of jump out of nowhere and throw that massive cage of crowd control down. And then on top of it, of course, they've got the hook to follow things up. They have the Trundle Pillar to get some more disruption, right? It's so easy for Sniper to be able to jump onto these players. So that's really what we're looking for from EGP, is trying to get, even though they don't have a ton of early game prowess, trying to get as much as possible, prevent 100 Thieves from taking that away, because 100 Thieves can definitely roll with that.
Yeah, and I think as long as Perry continues that early game aggression, I think this early game could still go well. I think taking mid will obviously be really hard unless you happen to walk by after that Event Horizon is used. But ultimately, I think you still have lanes that you can play for if you're EGP. Perry can go bot. You have a very strong 2v2 with Sketch and Daption here. Of course, you have Faisal, who's just honestly really strong on this Camille pick. He has a lot of carry potential as well. He could play towards that top side again, set Sniper behind like EGP did in game 1, and that is a potential way for you to be able to play this one out. Because I mean, your bot lane is going to get shoved. Your bot lane is going to get a lot of pressure. So I think you can technically go and set up for these dives because you have a lot of CC if you want to, or you could play away from it also if you choose and just try and help Leo and Faisal.
Yeah, this is a situation too with Gwen. I mean, you know how much I talk about Gwen and Viego in particular when it comes to these champions, these players being behind. It doesn't matter. All it takes, you get a couple of items. You get 3 items on this Gwen, and yeah, you get the it's ridiculous. He's the Nashor's Tooth Rift Maker, and then you top it off with the Zonias, and it's like, what are you capable of doing when she's able to pop her W? And especially when you have all the initiation as well on the follow-up for 100 Thieves. So, you know, EGP, sure, you can focus the top side. I would much prefer to see Perry here focus towards this Draven and this Leona as we are hopping into game number 2 here. This is the first day of quarterfinals in the playoffs, and it's a do-or-die situation. No lower bracket on this, single elimination. EGP with their backs up against the wall. 100 Thieves looking to clear this one in a sweep.
Already 100 Thieves looking to start things off with an aggressive play. Oh my gosh, Perry. Perry doesn't know.
Let's see if anything. I mean, Perry's doing this little back and forth. I feel like maybe trying to bait something. There are a couple members, you know, of the team. You got Faisal up there, but definitely nothing you want to pull 4 members in towards.
Probably not. They're just waiting to see if Perry goes for a bit of an aggressive ward. Some of that deep vision is something they can try to punish, but he doesn't go for it, so everyone's just going to recall, go back to their usual lane assignments here. And I mean, this is a big game for EGP. If they want to try and keep themselves alive, try and make it to that semifinals. It's going to have to start here, Jelly. You're going to have to be able to actually get the win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just win, forehead.
Right? Yeah, it's that easy. Get better and win the game. But Perry,
yes,
that was potentially a really scary situation for Perry. Of course, he made the smart move, not going in on that. You definitely don't want to set 100 Thieves Next up for success. We've seen how easily they can get the snowball started. It's really hard to stop it from rolling infinitely in their favor. A little bit of poke comes out so far. Sketch is not having any trouble from Array. Oh, alright.
Yeah, Daption gets to walk up realistically, but he sees the trade, support health. It's about what you can expect here. Sketch and Daption probably going to get level 2 first. So Array and Dawnbray, they're going to have to respect that. Both junglers starting on same sides of the map, but again, Fnatic going for this three camp clear, going for this opportunity to just be able to make a play as soon as possible here. And if he wants to go bot, like, he's going to show up much later than, or much sooner than Perry will be able to, especially with that ping as well. Seems like he's tracking him pretty well. Does get the inkling that he's full clearing. Actually pings him while he's on Wolves.
Yeah. Mentioned maybe the move up towards the Scuttle Crab as well. You can see the pings in response coming here of the potential that, you know, Fnatic is going to do what Fnatic tends to do, which is make a very early level 3 gank. And that might still be the case. He's clearing out a little bit more of the jungle than usual here. Now the ping's coming in the back up. He's just going to navigate his way up towards the backside of the map, potentially for a turnaround down here. And hey, we're going to get a nice deep ward coming out of Daption. So already this is offensive, but it is still defense, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you have the push, you can definitely do this, offer pressure. I think now, though, seems like EGP are less sure of what Fnatic's trying to do in this early game. The jungle pathing is definitely interesting. Doesn't see an angle bot, so instead, he's going to go back and clear some of the camps he missed, and go ahead and pick up this top Scuttle Crab instead. Maybe he can go and invade, but I think Faisal is actually just going to be able to drop that ward because he knows, hey, you know what, Fnatic might be here. And if he is, I'm in a lot of trouble. So that ward will give the information he's looking for.
Yeah. Gets taken down. The assumption is that Fnatic's probably not going to continue on in this one. Of course, Perry is going to trade over for the lower Scuttle Crab. It's potentially, you know, an opportunity to grab some items for everyone here, and it is going to be the full recall coming out of EG Prodigies. Almost everybody going back to base except for Leo.
Yeah, and so far, no fighting really breaking out. I actually don't think much skirmishing outside of that initial bot skirmish to level 2 has really happened rather. But you already have Dawnbray off this first reset. Actually, both supports making the move, potentially going to set up on the top side. In game 1, we saw Daption move top. So like in game 2, it's Dawnbray taking a turn like, hey, I can do this too.
We got 3 longswords picked up here by Sketch. He's going to come in and do a lot of damage. Already ahead in creep score. Of course, only 5, not a massive amount, but that's kind of to be expected for the early parts of this game. Especially with Daption and Dawnbray and having that Relic Shield style item to start things out. A little bit more sustainability and survivability. And it's going to be Fnatic and Dawnbray jumping here on.
Oh, nice hook.
Bottom Perry is in the back. If Faisal cannot escape, the exhaust goes down. Who's going to pick up the first blood? It is going to be Fnatic. In goes Perry, though. He's going to be able to trade that 1-for-1 onto Dawnbray.
You do end up getting the trade kill. Still, it's a lot of that wave. Actually, the entirety of it. Faisal is going to miss it and will have to TP so he can catch the next one. So I think the damage ultimately is still done. And I mean, when you think about it, even though it's nice for Perry that he gets a kill, Dawnbray gets that quick reset. You can see it. He's already walking back to this bottom side of the map, there to help out his AD carry and allow him to actually step up to that wave.
And a top for support, it's totally fine. You know, we're going to take another look at this play, this 3v1, which turns into a 3v2, essentially.
Sort of. I don't think Faisal got to do very much in this one. He gets flashed on immediately, and I mean, I don't know what else there is to say.
Perry says, I need my Grump first.
Yeah, let me take Grump first. I mean, ultimately, he was dead no matter what. I think all he could really do was look for the trade, so you might as well finish the game.
Yeah, not offer anything else up to Fnatic, and it's going to be EGP as we come back into the live game. We are going to be able to pick up this first dragon. No contest coming through. You get some pings from Daption saying, hey, I want to help out my mid lane here. There is an Infernal Dragon. So EGP very quickly recognizing, hey, we have the jungles, up towards the top side. Let's make a play towards the bottom half of the map, especially with the pressure that Sketch has been able to apply really the entirety of this game so far.
Right, and it shows in the CS that he's gotten a minor lead for himself, and shows in the fact that Array is he's paying his respects. He's buying the steel caps first thing, just because we got a lot of melee, a lot of auto attackers coming through on EG Prodigy's side. So it ends up being a pretty valuable purchase here. And interestingly enough, that first dragon giving you percentage of adaptive force really works out for Insanity, who is constantly going to be stacking with when he gets a kill with his Q, when he damages enemy champions. It's nice.
No, Array not gonna hit the deadly flourish, flashes away, trying to get away from Daption, but not much can come of that as the Zenith Blade is followed up right here. The Sketch fed the kill. Donbray has to run away from this one.
Oh, they don't know.
Oh no, that's the dredge line missing right there. Faisal just barely avoiding that pillar, but it's gonna be a flash forward here from Fnatic. No level 6 on Fnatic. There is that on Faisal, but it doesn't make a difference. The Hextech ultimatum doesn't come out. Fnatic picks up another kill.
Yeah, he knows he can't do anything about that one there. But ultimately, honestly, that was a nice dive from EG Prodigies there. Really good juggle of turret aggro, and because of that, you do end up taking Array out of the picture when Donbray was just a little too late when he was trying to show up to help his AD carry. That's good. Keep up that pressure. Play for Sketch, who already is having the CS lead grow, especially with the fact that he gets the kill, gets to cash in on the adoration. All Dragon players like to do.
Takes so much. Gonna steal the ultimate here away from Insanity, as we can see. That is a lot of potential damage that's going to be coming through from Leo. Of course, the items are pretty equivalent across the board for these two. We do have the tier already stacking, though, for Insanity. He's feeling pretty good about that, whereas the ring was the early pickup for Leo. No big surprise to try to get a bunch of extra sustainability on this one, but 20 CS behind is not a great place to be for Insanity, even though, for Leo. The damage is still coming through. We've seen some of these Event Horizon, but it makes it impossible for Leo to really do anything, and luckily he's got his flash right now.
This is what you expect when you end up playing this matchup here. Leo, of course, will be a little more helpful later on when you're able to dive, but again, this is kind of why I am really stressing the power of that pick here, but let's hold that for a second.
Sniper, at least able to get the ping onto Perry. It is still a 3v1. Fnatic is in the wings. I think that's something that Perry might recognize, as they did not have earlier eyes onto Fnatic. We do have Donbray down on the mid side of the map right now, so it's just kind of been still an ADC off. Well, actually, it looks like EGP are going to be the ones who are initially making these moves across the map. And a good play for that, too, because, man, Sketch, having already a lead on creep score pretty much the entirety of the game, is able to put pressure and response now onto Insanity. Does have more range, obviously, as opposed to Leo, and that means that 100 Thieves Next is going to have to kind of adapt accordingly.
So far, they've been doing a pretty good job at adapting. They have managed to get themselves about 1,000 gold lead, and now we have Daption back in the mid lane.
There it is. Oh, it's going to be a flash to avoid getting hit there. Insanity really didn't have any mana on top of it to do much else.
No, so he will have to flash. Doesn't have TP either. Oh, but he is actually going to get gifted the blue buff by Fnatic, so that might allow him to actually stay in lane and at least farm up a couple more waves. So that ends up being pretty nice. Nothing to really play for right now except this dragon that's coming up in a minute's time, and that's why you see Perry on this side of the map here. Could make a play bot once Array and Donberry return. The thing is, Fnatic is with them, and he does have access to that subjugate. So this could be a pretty volatile fight, but Leo is going to get that first move. I think they know this, so they're just going to back away.
Yeah, they also see the 3 now pushing on this bottom tower, and it's going to be the Rift Herald that comes out down here as well. This should be the first tower pickup of the game in favor of EGP. Oh, they can't really actually follow that one up thanks to there being 3 members here from 100 Thieves Next, so 1 charge Gold Shelly's going to get off of that. No fight to follow it up.
You got to get some props to Fanatics. He's been doing a really good job reading some of these plays that Perry wants to do, making them maybe a little less valuable than EGP are potentially looking for here. Denying that turret, denying that extra injection of gold for taking the first one is nice, but EGP still hold on to control of the Dragon Pit area, and oh god, look at Perry, he's hovering.
Perry looking for a follow-up on this
wow.
one. Is Perry even necessary on this one? Leo's going to do so much damage coming from the ultimate. Oh my god, Insanity at least trades one for his own life here. Fnatic not needed.
Yeah, we call that #worth. I mean, it was a good play from EGP. Try and get that dive so you have that mid pressure. But I honestly, props to Insanity for playing that one really well, going 1-for-1. Best he can hope for in those scenarios. And what does that mean, Jolly? 100 Next get to go ahead and walk down towards that dragon. The fact that Sketch and Dap should have gone for the recall, this ends up being a really unfortunate timing for EGP. 100 Thieves happy to capitalize.
Feels pretty good to just even this one out into Cloud. Drake definitely helps with the style of play here. The 100 Thieves Next has been going for, you know what always goes for. In particular, just the roaming that we tend to see from Dawnbray and Fnatic being all over the map, trying to respond to everything. This really just kind of pad their stats in terms of that movement. Feels really good. And Sketch is another player that has been all over the map, really just responding, saying, hey, you know what? This needs some pressure. I need some more gold. I need some more experience. Might as well take advantage of that.
Right, you already got the majority of the plates. Because of the recall, you do get the first move, so maybe they think before Array and Dawnbreak can get there, they could potentially try to set up an opportunity to take plates. Maybe they want to play for this next Rift Herald that's coming up soon. But ultimately, if there is a fight that breaks out, the bot lane is here, while Array has to farm on that top side of the map. Question is, though, will Sketch be able to actually pick up turret plates here? He is ahead because of the CS lead and the kills that he has for himself. Can EGP actually push that one further? I think that's what they're looking to do.
Definitely. They're very, very close in gold. It's still 3-3. I mean, this is very similar to the first game we were seeing, right? Beatdown, it was, probably one tower across the board. As we take a look at gold, it's very close between Sniper and Sketch, and we can see that a big portion of that is, check out the CS, 79 to 128 here for Sniper. Oh my goodness, that is a massive lead and a massive downfall here for Faisal.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Faisal being third from the bottom, only ahead of the supports, it certainly feels bad. He's been getting a lot of attention this time around. Fnatic returning the favor for what Perry and Faisal did to Sniper in the beginning of last game, and you kind of highlighted it in Draft Select and Champ Select. Jolly, Sniper is playing Gwen, this champion that just scales pretty insanely into the later stages of the game. So getting this insane lead where you got 2 assists, you're up 50 CS? We're going to get to this point very, very quickly. I only actually just did the math now, and I'm only just really saying, oh my god, that's a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's huge, huge. And, Gwen's going to continue to side lane, right? These are once again, two side laners. Obviously, I do think Camille is probably at the top of my list, just in terms of being able to continue to, just run around the rift, find every single side lane that is open and available, including, use the solo lanes in general, wherever she is needed. But Gwen also has a lot of speed and a lot of prowess. I talked about it yesterday of, Viego and Gwen, of, I have the math numbers going on behind me, how does this work? How does this happen? The speed ability is just so good. Of course, if you look at it on paper, it makes sense, but still, sometimes when you get to the late game and you're ahead, it feels awful. But now we're getting to the point where, hey, we're getting closer and closer to the late game, and Sniper is very, very much ahead. Faisal has a lot more difficult recovery as this Camille.
Right, and that first turret is going to go down in favor of 100 Thieves Next as well. Of course, Sketch and Deption have to respect that Perry is on the other side of the map. That gives 100 Next the pressure to be able to get that extra boost of gold here. Recalls coming through, gold spent. You're starting to see Mythics come out across the board here for both teams, actually. So we're going to see if a fight breaks out for this Rift Herald. This lead is not so bad. 1,000 gold at this point in the game is still rather insignificant. So if we have the fight, I think it could go either way. It's just going to depend on how it plays out. Faisal, though, feels like he just doesn't get to play.
Yeah, that's definitely been how this game is going. Luckily for EGP, they still have Draven, who hasn't really been able to participate in many fights, sitting at that 1-1 position, having taken down Array earlier on. But I also like the fact that, hey, you guys all have plated steel caps. That's totally fine, because I'm going to pick up an early Last Whisper before even finishing my own boots, on top of having the Immortal Shield, though. So feeling pretty good here if you are Sketch, and definitely waiting and anticipating moving towards a team fight for EGP.
Right, we haven't seen that play out yet. At the moment, it's just been small skirmishes leading to this 3-3 scoreline you see, and now with Perry dropping this Herald, 100 Next are too late to actually stop this turret from going down, and it's allowing EGP to kind of hold on and not allow this 1,000 gold deficit to grow any further. Even though Dawnbray is looking, I don't think there's really any fight that they can potentially look for. It's all about this dragon coming up in 40 seconds, Jolly. It's all about maybe Perry's caught.
Oh, yeah, looks like Perry is caught. That's going to be a nice little depth charge, actually, to follow that one up. So Perry takes a lot of damage, has to use the Crescent Guard to get away.
That's actually a pretty big deal. Perry isn't going to have it for this next skirmish. That's likely going to break out for this dragon that's spawning in about 20 seconds. So that's a big ult you end up forcing out. The thing that works for EGP is that Fnatic also used the Subjugate. And Dawnbray actually committed the depth charge too. So 2 ults for 1 is a pretty big deal for EGP. The only thing is, because Perry is forced to try to heal off some of his camps, you don't get a good position here.
Yeah.
Or do you?
The rest of the EGP trying to maybe find... I mean, they looked like they were maybe looking for some sort of pinch, but when it's Fnatic, Insanity, and Dawnbray in there... With Dawnbray and Fnatic, I mean, just playing proxy to ensure that nobody gets to the back line. Here out comes the Event Horizon, and a nice big pop-up array is going to take a lot of damage. Have to use the Gale Force to get out of that one. It's Fnatic who's stuck within some members, so Sniper comes in on the backside. The Needlework comes out here, and that is an intargetable Sniper right there. Beautifully done with the current.
Are you kidding?
Going to pick up the kill right there on Khalil. A double kill given over to Array. The ultimate comes through as well from Sketch, but it's not going to be enough to even take down a single member of 100 Thieves Next.
Man, the engage was there from Daption. He tried to make it happen with the Solar Flare, and Leo did too, but it didn't look like Sketch was in an optimal position to actually do some damage. Oh, Wisely, you can't be here, sir.
Yeah, you really can't. Sketch is really low on mana on top of it, but you don't want to give another kill over to Array, which is exactly what happened there.
And the race has been insane with these curtain calls, and we're going to see it in the replay, I hope, where Sketch wasn't able to actually do very much in that team fight, even though he did the most damage. I mean, compare it to Sniper. Actually, compare it to everybody. He got damaged, out-damaged by almost every damage dealer on the side of 100 Next. And it's just...
Almost every player. I mean, all the damage dealers, right?
Almost, yeah.
The only one that did less damage was, of course, Dawnbray, which, you know, that's absolutely anticipation on this one. And definitely does not feel good for Sketch. Oh my gosh, that was actually hysterical. It's not good for Sniper. Gonna get Solar Flared on the top of that. The Needlework comes out here as it's been stolen away by Leo. The final one does come through, but it's a big shutdown. Going over to Leo.
That's actually a big deal. Leo getting a lot of gold in his pocket off of that shutdown. It's got to have been a big one, considering how strong and how far ahead Faisal is at the moment here. But again, 100 Thieves, never resting. As soon as you see pressure on one side of the map, they immediately go for the trade here. They're stealing camps. Yeah. They're putting down vision. They're making this side of Perry's jungle dark at the moment here. What that does is expose this mid lane turret a little bit.
And now we see the Faisal has to react to this. Is not going to be a part of this fight. Daption's the one that gets rooted down with that deadly flourish. Dawnbray is actually going to end up using the depth charge here just to try to take out Daption. What a pillar to follow it up as well from Fnatic to prevent Daption from even navigating around anything. And hey, it's only the support, but it's still another pickup.
Yeah, and you're forcing people like Perry and Sketch to have to recall in some very uncomfortable parts of the map. Enemy jungle, just forcing them out here as you take Daption away, get more gold into your pocket here. And this is where 100 Thieves are just starting to run away with the game, and it's going to be harder for Sketch to be able to actually play. He's under a lot of pressure with this long-range damage coming through. You think about Insanity, you think about Array, especially when the curtain call comes through, and really... If Sniper gets on top of him, sure, it's Sketch's effective range, but Wynn's going to run him down.
Yeah, and that's been a big problem. You know, I mentioned several minutes ago, Beatdown, just the fact that Sketch hasn't really been able to get into these team fights, and that's what we've seen all the time. There's just so much prowess coming from the back, coming from Sniper, coming from Fnatic. You have to avoid the Event Horizon from Insanity, and then on top of the curtain call from Array, and right here, Leo looks like he's not going to be able to get out of this one alive. It's the depth charge that has been taken away here. Let's see who it is used on. It's going to be Fnatic. It's taking quite a bit of damage here, but the Event Horizon will be enough to lock him down. Sure, you could use some Zonias, but it's not going to get you very far here, and the kill goes over to Insanity.
Yeah, really nice punish. Really big move from Fnatic and Dawnbray. I don't think that Whirling Death's actually going to get the kill. He was probably aiming for Dawnbray, which is feels bad, but I do like the moving camera for that one, so that was fun. But ultimately, EGP just getting punished left, right, and center here. And Fnatic and Dawnbray are doing a really good job. Why don't we hold that thought?
Yeah, out comes the needlework once again. Sniper goes through the Hextech ultimatum onto Fnatic. Sketch is going to come through and help out right here. It's going to be the pickup by Faisal, who ends up using both summoning spells right there. But that's going to be Array using the Gale Force to come in, pick up another kill. Sniper, in the meantime, gets one for himself, and it's still 100 Thieves coming out ahead.
Ooh, and it's tough. You're at this point now, EGP, every play they make, especially in these skirmishes and 5v5s, if they don't make it happen, get in and get out, the rest of 100 Thieves are so fast to collapse. And the fact that they are just so much stronger at the moment here means there is no other way these skirmishes are going to end. And honestly, Insanity's cages make this really hard to navigate overall here. And again, why this Vigar pick is so good from the side of 100 Thieves. The only reason 100X can't go for the Baron is just because they ended up losing Fnatic at the start.
Yep. Makes it very difficult to try to go for something like that, especially when, Perry remains on board. Of course, had to recall immediately after that one. Doesn't have a flash available, doesn't have a Crescent Guard available, but let's take another look at that fight real quick.
Yeah, you can see it come through with this teleport where, I think this was from, a couple of minutes ago. Yeah, okay, yeah, where Insanity ends up getting the baby cages there, even with the Crescent Guard. You can see it coming through. Faisal TPs to try and get that kill onto Fnatic, and even though he succeeds, I mean, look, again, the cage, it zones parry and Daption. They can't do anything about the fact that their top and 80 carry are just getting throttled at this red buff.
Yeah, and that was actually a good replay because it gave us the perspective, first off, of that teleport.
How it started, yes.
Through. And then also, the fight did kind of split. So that was a situation where we focused a little bit more towards the top side. That's where most of the members kind of flew away to. But you do have to acknowledge it was a pretty good flash coming out. It was pretty good avoiding a lot of things there. But you can't avoid the event horizon. It's going to be the ultimate that comes out from Sketch. Does almost nothing.
The damage.
The Solar Flare on the backside. The curtain call is finally here now. Don Bray is going to pick up the kill on that one. Fnatic and Sniper find out a member right there in Faisal. On top of that, that means the two remaining members of EGP have to run away, opening up the Baron for 100 Thieves next.
It's going to be that easy. 100 Thieves are going to take this big objective here and continue to advance their gold lead. EGP, I mean, they only have 2 members. They have already accepted they can't do anything about this. They're going to try and trade for the Dragon because they want to deny the soul point at the very least. Thing is, Sniper is already here, level 14. What can they actually do about it? Oh, they don't realize that Sniper's already on it, I think.
They're not going for it. Leo says, I could potentially catch out Dawnbray, but Insanity is right there after the Baron has been picked up. That was beautifully done right there by Insanity coming down to say, hey, I'm going to help out Dawnbray, Array, you and Fnatic. You've got this Baron, right? No problem, because Sniper has the Dragon. We're going to pick up everything and more.
And that's just 100 Thieves winning on every part of the map here at this point in time. You get this 3rd Dragon. You're at soul point for Mountain Soul. With this Baron buff and Toe Jolly, maybe we don't even get to the soul here. The lead is so strong for 100 Next. Well, let's take a look at this replay really quickly here. Even though the Everfrost comes through, you still see Dawnbray able to start this engage. And the fact is, again, Sketch, not a single axe thrown. And even Faisal wasn't able to do very much into that fight. Because of that, because of the zoning and how strong it is from the side of 100 Thieves Next, it's just so easy for them to win these fights.
3 members do catch out Sniper. Fnatic's not going to be able to get there in time. That means that is 1 member down and the biggest side laner here that no longer has the Baron buff for the next 2 minutes. Of course, Fnatic,
canceled.
Insanity, and Dawnbray are here, and it's going to be a nice little cancellation right there. Leo is stuck against a wall, literally between 2 right now. Fnatic using the subjugate to help out on that one, but Insanity picks up the kill.
Yeah, now you got 2 members of the EG Prodigies on the run, Jolly. Dapshit and Perry are trying to get away from this one, and I actually think they will be able to. You take away one Baron buff. I mean, yeah, you take away a Baron buff, they have to take this awkward escape route while you get to continue pushing bot top and technically stacking if left alone. And now, Faisal can't even back. It's not allowed.
So rude. Dawnbray is there. It is going to be Perry and Daption who are capable of backing things moving into the mid lane. Perry actually stops the recall here. The pings are coming out from 100 Thieves Next to potentially make a pinch, but you know what? Why do you have to do that when you can just abuse the Baron buff? They haven't gotten a ton off of it. Of course, it is a pretty early Baron, so 2,400 is still very solid, but they're looking to actually break into the base here of EG Prodigies. So luckily, EGP saw that coming and did decide to back pretty early in that.
Yeah, now, oh, you can see it. There it is.
No, the event horizon perfectly done right there. Out comes the ultimate here from Faisal. Next time, ultimatum, a couple flashes back. Dombre is in danger, but it doesn't matter because in goes Sniper. Out comes the curtain call. Dombre still participating in this fight, still alive. Fnatic at full health behind the inhibitor is going to get jumped on here by Daption. Goes gold, but it does not matter. It's too much damage. And just like that, 100 Thieves are looking to end the game. The only member left alive right now is the support, and there's not much that Daption can do right here, right now for Faisal. Not even able to do a thing. The teleport coming through, just a cheeky one from Insanity to say, what are you gonna do to me? Daption, absolutely nothing. And it's going to be 100 Thieves who send EG Prodigies home in a very quick 2-game sweep.
Say goodbye to Evil Genius Prodigies. 100 Next are constantly reminding us why they are one of the tournament favorites. Dismantling EGP in game 2, especially, and again, I'm going to keep talking about this Vigar pick, and if you don't talk about it on the desk, I'm going to be very sad. Smacks, I'm looking at you. I know you appreciate this as much as I do. This was just so good for Insanity, and that one pick really made this fight, the game, impossible for EGP to play. Again, for sure. So many melee members. You saw it in those last couple of fights, those last couple of replays we went through. Sketch doesn't get to auto attack. None of his lead ended up mattering because he can't actually go for any of the damage possible. Even Daption was getting zoned out so often as well and getting caught out, and it just means EGP could never even fight to their comp's potential.
Absolutely. It was unfortunate to see and sad to say goodbye to EGP for this. But hey, you know what? You've got more qualifiers to look forward to, more tournaments, and of course, 100 Thieves saying, hey, we were already first seed. We're going to continue on with this drive and not losing a single match in this one. We will be right back, of course, with an interview or two, so don't go anywhere. We'll return with more Proving Grounds after this quick break.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Unified Proving Ground Circuit. We are here with EGP Daption here, and Daption, I wish I could have you here in a happier circumstance, but did fall victim to 100 Thieves. How was that series for you guys?
I mean, we were ahead game one and we lost, and obviously that's kind of sad. And then second game, things obviously didn't go the way we planned it to go, but you know, it's fine. Like, losses happen, and I think the best way to take this forward is to just like learn from it, and so that the next time we end up facing 100 Next, the story isn't the same, and not everyone's voting for 100 Next, and they see the progress that we've made, you know? And yeah, that's really how I want it to be.
I mean, y'all had big fans inside of, I know we had a lot of talking about it, and even RBM was just like, yo, EGP, hold on, this is how they're gonna do it. But yeah, you guys, I mean, you guys had a very impressive run here, especially. I mean, you guys did have yourselves drop to Winthrop inside that first game, and then you guys fought your way back in. So how did it feel going from that first round, go against that collegiate squad, and kind of had that reset? Was that a big wake up for you guys? Or
wait, I thought we lost to Taco Gaming.
Taco Gaming, sorry. That's Taco Gaming.
Well, obviously it was like a big wake up call for us to like to lose, because like obviously when you're losing, obviously something's not going right. And it kind of hit us in the face like out of nowhere. And I'm kind of happy that you know, we had that loss, because we were able to like move on and like really iron out those issues that we had. And so the series that we had today ended up being closer than it would have been if we hadn't lost to them. So it's just like a lesson learned, and yeah, appreciate Taco Gaming.
You guys get scarier if that's the case. Now you guys did come off of this, you know, you get to come in with it. I have to ask real quick for my sanity. In game number 2, we'll talk about this probably more on Type of the Desk, but there was a point in time where we saw the Camille and Sketch kind of go off on their own journey to try and kill out the jungler and cash in on some stacks. How tragic were comms right there? I gotta know.
I mean, on a scale from 1 to 10, it was probably like a 9. Not like the most tragic, but like it was pretty tragic. You could feel it in the comms, but also it's a match game, so we're not going to be like super depressed and anything. But yeah, I mean that kind of sucked, but I think that's what we thought we could do, and we ended up going through with it. So I'm happy that my team is like ready to go with that one line. You know, when your team is trying to do something and you go with it, that you end up being a much better team than teams that don't, you know, follow the team. Well, I said team a lot, but
yeah, it's all good. Look, it's all about the team, right? And
yeah,
I mean, you guys had a strategy there. Yo, cash in, get those stacks. We were talking about it on the desk while we were watching. He's like, this man's sitting on so many stacks. He's gonna get so much gold if he actually gets a kill. So it was one of those moments of tragedy for us on the desk, because we were like, he was so close to picking up that kill. But it is what it is at the end of the day. For anybody who is watching EGP that have been cheering y'all on throughout this qualifier, any words that you have for the fans cheering at home?
Thank you for supporting us. Obviously, we didn't end up winning today and we got kicked out of this tournament, but thank you for supporting us through this loss. And obviously I want to come back stronger for all of the fans out there and all my friends that are literally sitting at home right now watching. I got a few messages like sad emojis on Discord. But you know what? Thank you for sticking out there for us, and I'm gonna try to make you as proud as possible.
Hey, absolutely. And take everybody down in the process, right? That's what we want to see. So thank you so much, Daption, for coming in for this interview. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and throw it back over to our desk to go ahead and get the breakdown of this game started. As we just got the scene 100 Thieves Nets get a very, very strong 2-0 for themselves here. Gents, ladies, it's been just a very convincing performance, I think. I think everybody had everything that they went for themselves. It was a great time.
Yeah, everybody on the casters predicted for 100 Thieves, so they were all right. RBM,
I didn't want to say that. I was struggling to not say that.
Yeah, it was just a really good series for 100 Thieves for sure. I think like the early game in game 1, they could definitely take some notes on what went wrong for them there, but game 2 was a lot cleaner for sure.
And RBM, how are you feeling? You got the, of course, your prediction didn't get right. It got foiled there at the end. How are you feeling coming off of this?
Yeah, I definitely think EGP will have a lot to learn from the games, especially game 1. Game 2, they kind of got stomped, but it was more like a strategy kind of idea thing that they can like try to think about or talk about more about what they think they could do next time in order to beat a team like 100X. Because 100X really gives me like the no org kind of vibes back from last year, where like General Sniper is definitely his brother's brother because he's top kingdom R5 every single game. So I think if teams get a better strategy against them or try to incorporate a little bit of a no-org strategy, they'll do better. But overall, game 1 was a really good learning place for EGP to step it up and figure out what's going on.
And Amelia, I have to ask, are you converted? Are you now are you Nautilus gaming now?
Dombre was looking really good in that Nautilus. I'm starting to have my be second guessing my champion pool day. But no, it was a really good showing though. It was good. I enjoyed watching, even though I didn't get the Enchanter gameplay I wanted or the Yumi. I did enjoy watching those plays, those picks on the aggressive champions that I don't see as much normally.
Yeah, we got to see a Draven, which was phenomenal to be able to catch out here. We have some replays to go over how that game went, and it all started over inside the top lane with a nice Nautilus roam and a Trundle coming up the lane. Take it away from me as
Yeah,
we got the replay right here.
This is a really cool play from Dombre. He's Spider-Manning his way up around the rift, trying to figure out where he wants to go with the dredge line. Always nice to see that movement, but yeah, once we get up to this top lane, you'll see that Sniper has a really solid push up here with the counter pick of Gwen into the Camille. As like RBM was saying, whenever a Sniper is able to have counter pick, this is what he's going to do to you, and he's got the support of his team to back him up. I really like the Nautilus mechanics in this play as well, because he gets the flash hook, and then to cancel out the momentum of the hook shot, he lands the snare auto attack as well. And even though Dombre ends up falling and dying underneath this turret, it's completely okay, and top lane is already completely won from this because there's an entire wave that Faisal is missing, and Sniper still has this counter pick as well, so there's really not a whole lot that can be done to save Faisal's lane from here.
Yeah, jumping on that play for sure. I think it was a great call by either Fan or probably General Sniper in this case, talking about this wave's going to crash, and hey, Dombre is pathing back down to mid, you're open on this timer, please come top and dive this guy. It's a free dive, and that really ends Camille's game. She can't play the game after that.
I guess
really
Yumi couldn't do that.
Maybe not.
Can't Spider-Man around the map like that at the very least, but we did go back over into the bot lane, and with the Nautilus roam and everything to set up some plays to go over to this squad from EGP. And this was a moment that us on the desk, we were like, oh, the cash in, here we go. It's the first of many, right?
Only the first and the last, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's all right.
So EGP does a really good job of capitalizing on Nautilus because he's away roaming mid. So I think they timed this very well and caught Array alone. And then it was just a standard dive. They juggle the aggro well, give that cash out to the Draven. Unfortunately, it was his only one. It wasn't enough. But it's good. They're playing towards the Draven. They know their win con, so it was definitely good that they went for plays like that.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're going for plays like that because, like you said, this Draven needs some money, right? He's trying to cash in on the adoration that he's stacking up. Yep. And unfortunately, like you guys have been saying, spoiler alert, that was his one and only cash in that he got to have. And going into our third replay here, we see 100 Thieves. This is where they start taking control of the game yet again in this mid-game RBM. I mean, this fight was just so big for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, I think the most important thing in this fight is definitely this General Sniper flank that ends up coming, the damage graph popped up afterwards to show he did the most damage in this fight. This flank was just way too insane. Even without the ghost, it was really hard to get in. Leo getting instantaneously one-shot forces Zonius thanks to Legend Tenacity. He was able to get out of the CC, but here comes General Sniper to just melt the entire team. I think something super huge here, right here happens where Dabre flashes to get the Draven flash too. So now Draven is really going to struggle to play the rest of like the next 5 minutes of the game, which is not what Draven wants to do. He really needed that cash out to make this game anywhere near close.
Yeah, the flank from Sniper is just crazy as well. Like this Gwen already gigantic lead from the top lane. Like it's kind of similar to Vladimir, where you don't really have any crowd control when you're flanking, but you just can't die because you have the W. So
especially
it's really
no ghost,
flank.
like getting a flank that good without ghost or TP, like that's really well played by General Sniper. Like that's pretty impressive.
This player is just such a threat. It's so young and is such a threat to every single player on the Rift from this top lane position. We do have one more replay here, and this is where hearts are broken, I believe. Is we do see a cool play coming up from EGP. A tear does shed down the eye as this is where they try to bet it all.
Yes. So this is even before the play begins as well, where Leo gets caught out, and we get to see the recalls canceled out by Sketch. They're really trying to get the siege off in the mid lane, but like RVM was saying, the flanks can be really deadly on Gwen without TP. So now that you actually do have teleport, it just becomes all the more deadly. Sketch and Faisal actually have a really smart opportunity where they see that they actually can at least get a cash out on Draven by the end, but then Faisal takes it. Oh, it's so tragic. All of that gold down the drain for Draven. I think he lost like 400 stacks there. It was really, really sad.
Yeah, Faisal was trying to S-key to give it over, but unfortunately it was not enough. And you can see on the minimap during that time too that while the channels or the TPs are getting channeled, blue team is danger pinging and blue trinketing on top of the pink ward that they know is there. So they know this TP is coming, the double TP flank is coming, but it didn't seem that they really had an agreed upon exit path as people walked upward and 2 people walked downward and then try to go upward afterwards. So it was good to try to get a turn, good to try to get the cash out, but the Camille Ignite ended up taking it while he was spamming S-key. It was really sad, really unlucky, but it probably wouldn't have changed the game anyways. The game's pretty doomed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Tears were shed. I definitely feel like that was an F in chat moment for him as well. We were talking about it. Big money was sitting on him with the adoration that they had.
Yeah, I'm putting 2 Fs in chat after that one. And a slash.
2 Fs. 2 Fs.
A forward slash and 2 Fs. That's a bit of my chat.
With that being said, we do have our game is over. The series is over. I want to real quick, Amelia, how you're walking away from this, of course. Anything you come walking away from this from, besides, Nautilus being a bit better of a champion in your eyes, at least not on the other side.
I'm almost. I'm like halfway converted. Not there yet.
Okay. I like to hear it. With that being said, I want to give a shout out to Amelia for coming in and joining us for our first desk here, providing some fantastic. Yeah, you were fantastic today.
It's the first time doing anything like this, but it's a lot of fun. So thank you for having me on today.
Anytime. It was great. But that being said, we are going to send it over to our winner's interview as we are going to go ahead and jump on in with Array, who is waiting for us.
Oh.
Array, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm going.
Pretty good. What about you?
Doing good. We do have a special guest here.
Yeah.
I got RBM. He's got a smile on his face because he's so excited to talk to you. RBM, I'm gonna let you have the first word here. I'm gonna let you seem very excited for this.
Oh, of course, I love doing player reviews. So, Ray, how does it feel to get single-handedly carried by kid number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much more to say.
Yeah, and how like who's leading those calls where it's like pulling Dabre back to top lane? And do you like cry every time you hear it? Like in scrims, you go through like a 3-game block of your top laner begging for top lane dies while you're just AFK under your tower getting carried, or?
Nah, bro. I know these guys. They don't know how to stack bot waves, so I'm not losing much, bro.
Oh, I don't know. I think I saw a cash out into 630 gold Draven. You raised both your sums under the turret. didn't look like.
I went for the outplay. But 60
playing for
ping,
the
60
outplay.
ping, 60 ping.
60 ping.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like how this went from an interview to an interrogation very quickly. Like the mood shifted. I'm gonna congratulate you, Ray, for the dub here. That was very big for you guys, being able to move on to the next round. I have to ask, going first and foremost, you guys pick up a very convincing 2-0. I want to know, is there a team that you guys are specifically keeping your eyes on throughout the rest of this qualifier?
Probably like Team Liquid LCS. The
Team Liquid
the amateur and
LCS.
academy teams have not really been putting up a fight, so yeah, probably.
It's because I'm not playing. You're lucky.
RBM, would you just camp Array's lane if you were playing against them? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
No, my internet would go out if I had to play 100x.
That being said, man, all right, you played a fantastic time on the Jin Champion. Of course, you were able to pull off some very good moves, had a great bit of positioning for yourself inside of a lot of these team fights. How are the comms going, and how is the energy going into the series?
We're pretty confident facing any team. We know that we have 5 really good players in every role, so as long as we play our game, we know that we'll be fine.
Okay, I like the confidence there. I like it. And your game, I mean, I gotta bring it up. Sniper was a raid boss, especially in game number 2 here. How is it being with your team having so many threats inside of it? It feels multidimensional. It's hard to play against y'all's team right now, especially when y'all take red side.
Yeah, I mean, Sniper is definitely really good. I think, like I said before, we have 5 good players in every role, and all of us can carry if we need to. So, I mean, it's like not really stressed going into like any game ever, thinking like, oh, I have to do so much to win. Like, I just have to do my job, and it'll be good enough.
Did you think like that on Resolve? Are you saying your Resolve teammates are bad?
No. I love my Resolve teammates.
Jumping on that Resolve teammate thing, you've obviously experienced a whole year playing with Fan, so it probably works out really well for you in understanding what he wants to do with the game. But tell me about Insanity. I think that's a player that doesn't get talked a lot about on your team enough, especially Dawnbray too. Tell me about Dawnbray and what you think about playing with them.
Insanity definitely helps a lot with like reviews and stuff, and he has a lot of experience, obviously, in LCS and Academy. So in review, he kind of takes like a huge role and is trying to like help all of the players with less experience learn. And Dawnbray is kind of in the same boat where he doesn't have that much experience, but in game he tries to make a lot of calls, and yeah.
I like it. I like to hear that. Well, we have last bit of closing words here. Is it just constant 2-0s from this point on? You guys haven't dropped a game. Like, is that streak going to continue on until the very end? What do you guys got going on there?
I think we're just really good, and just our players are really good. And as long as we keep like improving as a team, yeah, we should keep winning.
Okay, no L's in this team's future, apparently. Well, Ray, I have to thank you for the interview here and joining us for the interview/interrogation from RPM. With that being
You
said,
better not lose, buddy.
Oh, there's a weight put on Ray's shoulder.
Don't lose any noobs.
We're going to go ahead and send it over to a break. When we come back, we will be going into our net series, have a new guest alongside with us with Qualifier, so make sure you stay tuned as we'll be right back.